show on called the Midnight Hour. We've had our show on for 4 years. They sent me a note saying they want us to take our show off the air. They're not going to allow it because they're now, you know, the big Midnight Hour.
Wilson Pickett did the Midnight Hour. I wouldn't worry about that. I've practiced in this area of law for 15 years. I've been an assistant attorney general. I was selected as the outstanding young lawyer of the year in 1983. This letter is not worth the paper upon which it is printed. You can throw it away. It doesn't mean anything. CBS won't touch it, believe me. On second thought, mistakes sometimes occur, and let's do this. Let's appeal. They made a big mistake here. Forget about it. We're going to appeal. We'll win it on appeal. We'll go to the Supreme Court. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
From Forest Park, Ohio, the city designed using Farfignugan. It's the Midnight Hour Summer Special. Tonight, Bob's guests are from WLW Radio, Bill Cunningham, and Joe DePong, otherwise known as Mr. Spoon. And now your host, the man who's been redesigned for the 90s, Bob McMillan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, and welcome to the Midnight Hour. This is our summer special, and we had intended on shooting it outside in the beautiful sunshine this summer, but we had a very severe thunderstorm come through and kind of washed out our attempts to do it. So now, and also with the help of CBS, we are now going to shoot it from the lobby in our limited facility here, but it still will be an outstanding show. We have a great audience here. Let's hear it, audience. You guys are great, you know. The best studio audience has come to the Midnight Hour right here. We got a big show, so let me quickly introduce my co-host, Mr. Pat Barry. Pat, nice to have you back. I want to hop on up our newly designed set for the summer special.
Ah, this is a great set.
It is. How have you been?
Just fine.
Had a nice summer?
Yeah, too short
You
though.
know, it's almost over.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Then we'll be into our regular season. Maybe we'll even use the studio.
That would be different.
That would be great. We got a lot to do, so let's get going. Would you please welcome the voice of the common man from WLW, Mr. Bill Cunningham.
How are you, Pat?
Hi.
Pat, you shrunk a little bit since the 50-50 Club, or whatever the hell that show was that we got kicked off of. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
How's the weather treating you?
A little damp.
Oh, I know what you mean. Bob, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Bill. Pleasure to have you on the program.
Listen, Warner Cable spares no expense when it comes to props and everything.
Well, they do us right.
No
they
question.
really do.
Look at this audience. Look like they're from Longview State Mental Hospital.
They're going to turn on us, Bill.
They got to be
They
back.
are.
They got to be back soon.
They are.
Their pass is over at 8 o'clock is what I heard.
Well, you're in on some information I wasn't privy to, but it's nice to have him here anyway. Please come back.
I tell you what, I've been on a lot of big shows, you know, Hollywood stuff. I've never been with Mr. Spoons except on the Reds opening day parade. There sits a living icon, an institution, a man without equal in the tri-state area. Think of the things those eyes have seen and the miles those feet have walked. You got to feel honored just to be in his presence.
I am, and I'll hear all about it when he's on in just a few minutes.
Oh, I see. You want to talk about him?
Okay. You know, I was watching Channel 22 from Dayton the other day, and doggone it if there's Bill Cunningham on 22 Dayton commentary. Tell me about that.
The uncommon voice of the common man. They got a hold of me in January, and they wanted some pungent commentaries on social issues about life, divorce, politics, sexuality. In other words, things like your life. And so I suggested to him I was the man to give it to him, so I'd take a conservative bent. I am on 3 nights a week up in Dayton on 22 Alive, speaking about America loudly and proudly, its enemies, its foreign and domestic friends, and things of that character, the economic conditions under which we live. Of course, the Iraqi situation. You and Pat have given a lot of money and materials to Saddam Hussein over the years, and you got to be upset with the things happening over there now, but nonetheless,
a strange turn of events.
I tell you, it's odd. It's odd. But I'm very happy to be here with you because it makes me feel warm to be an American.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that compliment. You know, I don't know what to say after that. You're a lawyer.
Yes, I practice law until I get it right.
Until you get it right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What got you interested in law?
Well, I was a young man. I was born at a very young age, and from my earliest days, I watched Perry Mason and Owen Marshall.
Sure.
It probably shows that you're too young to remember.
No, I do. I remember.
On the reruns.
Yeah.
And they always had those spectacular finishes, so after my matriculation at Xavier University, which I called the Harvard of the Midwest.
By the way, Pat and I both went to Xavier University.
I didn't know that.
I got my master's there, and
What'd you get your degree in?
You got
Public
your- you
speaking
got
or
your
what?
rank-
Can't you say anything?
You got your.
Why don't you spruce up a little bit over there?
Pat's always very
Very
he
quiet.
butts in on all the conversations.
It looks
I
like a
keep him
florist
quiet.
or something, or I don't know.
Undertaker.
An undertaker, yeah.
Allow you all to
Look
die
like,
in peace.
look like you're one of the victims instead of the...
So go ahead.
Anyway, what was the question?
We're talking about law and matriculation and.
Well, I thought that the legal world needed my particular skills, and so I went to Toledo University of Toledo, and I graduated in '74 and practiced law ever since. Slowed down my practice the last few years because of my radio and my television commentaries and my sports bar.
Right.
And,
Right.
So I practice law. I do DUIs and criminal things.
Do you?
So
But you enjoy that. You like doing that.
I do all kinds of different things. Each day's different. In the morning, I practice law. In the afternoons, I'm at the joint for lunch, and then in the evenings, I either do radio or I do television work.
Right. Gosh, you
And
are so
then-
busy. You have.
Then I play golf. I
you
play
play
a
golf?
lot of golf. Shoot a lot of golfs.
Well, that's good.
Play a lot of
I hear
golf.
you're pretty good.
I'm one of the best golfers in Greater Cincinnati, no question about it.
But
One of the great natural athletes. A couple of my caddies here. I've seen some of these boys at the caddy shack before. And I've won the Kenwood Country Club Golf Championship 2 years in a row now.
well, that is certainly.
It's a
amazing.
high honor, very
It is.
high honor. And,
Considering who your opponents are.
well, Johnny Bench is there,
Right.
and Michael Lally, and Edgar Bradley, and people of that ilk. But I play a lot. I dedicate myself to the game during that month of the season when the club championship is ripe, and I bring those boys to their knees.
As you do so well.
Yes, yes,
You work for WLW.
yes. They pay me. I don't
They
know if I
pay
work
you.
for them, but I.
And you have your talk show on it in the evening, 9 o'clock.
9 to 12, America Station, we call it, 38 states, about 500,000 listeners. We have guests on, a few authors now and then talk about sexuality, dildos, the fun ladies, edible panties. We also do things like the urologist. We do serious issues of a mental character. Every bodily function, orifice, and organ over the past 8 years I've delved into at one point or another. There's nothing left that I haven't spoken about at some point. And it's been like an education to an extent because I've had proctologists on, I've had psychiatrists on, I've had urologists on, I've had gynecologists on, I've had heart specialists, cancer specialists, I've had Alzheimer's disease, I've had rheumatoid arthritis, and after every show I think I got it because they give me the symptoms. I say, oh, geez, I'm going to die tomorrow. But
hello
no,
there,
it's still
everybody. I hate to interrupt Midnight Hour. I do feel bad for that.
Going from law to broadcasting.
Well,
Yeah, why does it say midnight hour?
That's the name of the show that we were
Oh.
watching. That
I
was
thought
our
that
that
was-
was our intro, Midnight Hour. It's a nonsensical. I have no idea why it's called that. I was like watching it thinking, oh, maybe they get into like late night talk because that was kind of the trend on public access. No.
I was all impressed for a second. I thought those overlays were yours.
No, it's not mine.
Well,
Hate to break it
that's-
to you, sorry.
How disappointing. How typically disappointing.
Well, it's the way it works. Hate to tell you that. How's your Monday and how was your weekend Sunday after
Well,
last Friday?
As you know, because we had a harrowing last couple of days, I am the latest iteration of the Sunday line. The previous clone was an evil
We
Sunday,
did have
and
to destroy the last clone.
and I had
after
to
Friday.
kill him with my own bare hands. However, we've implemented a safeguard so that now, chat, if you see these haywire alien genes going off, you can now post a new emoji that tells us that the thing is taking over, and it's right there. So if you find either one of us doing the thing, you can now post the thing in the chat to alert us.
So that way we can destroy the clone and return him to the protein vat so we can make new ones.
You'll notice a light flicker, as a matter of fact, when you post that one enough that's actually the kill switch. So we'll just swap out immediately at that point with newer, superior copies.
We did eliminate a handful of memories from this copy of Sunday, so that way we're hoping that it does fix the problem. But we'll see in time.
To previous Sunday's partners' dismay, I'm no longer homosexual, so it's very unfortunate. But sacrifices must be made for the greater good.
Does anyone want to answer Aunt Jer's question about what that one is?
What the what? Oh, the emoji?
Not everyone gets the emoji, which is
that's
the thing.
those
like the most
people don't
iconic
deserve
cover.
to get the emoji.
It's one of the more all-time great covers that exist.
That ironically has nothing to do whatsoever with the film, actually.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Doesn't even have a moment in there where like, oh, there's light behind a guy and it's covering. No, just
Nope. Never.
Just yeah.
Although the prequel movie from 2011 did have a cover that sort of melded that with the actual thing in it, but that was also a scene that wasn't from the remake. That was a scene that was from the original, where
Accurate.
the guy is like kneeling with the claw hand, and it's like, what are you doing, guys? But speaking of movies that were not filmed in America.
Well, not quite yet. I got to get the agenda all put in, so just give me 2 seconds to finish that.
Actually, I'm not sure. Where's the thing filmed? Maybe it was filmed in Alaska. Hang on.
I mean, I'm assuming it was filmed in Canada.
Oh, shit. It was filmed in British Columbia, the United States, and Alaska. Where was it filmed in British Columbia? What?
A lot of shit's filmed up there.
A lot of it is. I just don't know. It's the thing. So why would you film in Alaska and in British Columbia? The film's either indoors or not. Just, I guess they filmed the indoor shots in British Columbia. They must have. I can't imagine what else they would shoot. There's nothing. It's only 2 settings.
Let's see.
Weird.
I think that's going to be most of our... Oh, God, there's so much. There's so much shit to go over today, dude.
But
there's so much shit to go over today.
It's all very stupid, so.
Donate and help us. And then sub or membership or super chat.
Canada's a very common place for filming. I used to do a little bit of very low wage work on some films here. Not very fun, by the way, but they get you really fat on Danishes that they give you for free in the morning.
I buy it.
Gengaros, thank you for the $9.99. Just found out I'm losing my job today. Right.
Gengaros super chatted $9.99. Just found out I'm losing my job today. Rite Aid is going to close down as a company in the upcoming months. I'm also not getting my severance as assistant store manager. 13 years and this what I get.
It's not sharing audio from the entire browser to you, is it?
No, I couldn't hear a thing.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun.
I was confused as to whether or not you were waiting for that to play out or if you were
I was letting Gengros's play. So you're going to have to hold for just a second while we get a few things in there. It's going to be just a moment. We didn't think about that one, did we?
I have to kill another
But
Sunday.
I have good news. My addition works.
Does it?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. It does. That is a very depressing yellow bar. Dear God. Gengaros.
Hey, I'm excited for it. I'm happy about it. What can I say?
Look, okay. Reminder to chat, by the way. God, I feel bad now. I'm not going to say this is how you can support the channel. Gengaros. That's terrible to hear. Sorry about that. Damn. Not the last, definitely, unfortunately. But damn.
It stops. Why does it stop? Why is it stopping?
Oh, it doesn't stop. That was the whole thing.
No, I'm talking about...
Oh, it's frozen at the side there.
Yeah, it's like filling up.
Wait, is it gonna knock the other one?
Is it gonna push it out?
Wait, let's see.
It's just too long of a fucking super chat. So
also, the text.
I didn't make it wide enough.
Look at the text on the next one. It's black. You can't read it.
God damn it, Gengaros. Had to send a huge super chat that's depressing.
That's what you get.
God damn it.
This is just your life now, forever. You're just stuck there.
I'm not able to ever fucking code anything, is going to be basically the question.
I don't understand why it would stay there, though. The other one passed by.
I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, Boys went off the screen. But for the smaller ones, the text has to be white, too, because we can't frickin' see any of the text. It's black on blue.
I was battling this last night, so the challenge is, the way that I've set it up, is that it basically... I started with it just on screen, but the problem is, because of the way I was doing it in CSS for the ticker, every time something got added, depending on the length of what got added, more text was technically in the ticker. So it made it speed up the speed, and it became unreadable really fast. And I couldn't figure out how to beat it. So what I did instead is I changed it so that way it's a big, giant fucking huge bar that basically it goes to the end. I didn't realize I didn't make it long enough. Look, I'm not an engineer. That's not my first job. It's just not the first job I got. I'm sorry about that, everyone. I know, I will.
Judging from the saturation filter you replied to your hair, your first job was as a troll doll? What is that color today, Brooks? It's like fading out of the spectrum at one point, one lock.
It is. It's just blue and pink.
Yeah, here we go. The exact blue and pink. I was right. Look at this. It's exact.
Blue and pink from the DGQC. It's my QC colors.
No.
Vaporwave.
It's blue and pink from the troll dolls. Here. The exact. I remember this. I had these toys.
All right, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Then this one, where are you at? Why aren't you working? Let's see. We'll try you.
Sends preface to Phenomenology of Spirit as a super chat. That'll be a big super chat. That'll be a lot of super chats. What is the largest super chat you can send?
And it's still stuck there. God damn it. Because it's pulling from the super chats in the way I sent it. Well, this is just going to be.
But so were the cheaper ones, no?
Everything's going to be stuck there, and I don't know why.
What if you just make it bigger?
I'm not recoding this live.
No, you don't need to recode it. Just hear me out. Make it bigger, and then just nudge it a little bit over, so it's off the screen when it stops.
Like that.
Yeah.
No one will ever know the difference. But it's not also changing the other.
Chad, his hair's not actually that color. Look at the filter. He's got holes in his shirt.
What?
Thermal abysses. It's like a plasma gun just went into your shoulder there.
It's not putting up the other things. We're going to get rid of the agenda thing today. It's not working right. I'm sorry about that. We'll leave the super chat part for when that works. But I do want to start covering things if you're up for it, because
no, I'm kind of burnt off of it now. We can.
Fair enough. What can I say?
Okay. Go for it.
It's going to be a long day. This is just going to be a very long day.
Well, now it is because you said that.
Well, it's going to be a long week because of shit like this. So we have our friend Trump. See, now everything's fucked up because you made me do that Sunday. God damn it.
You're welcome.
God damn it. All right. We'll see if that functions at all. Probably isn't. So yesterday there was a kind of a big, large nightmare of a whole bunch of stuff with Trump that was really frustrating. One of the things that he's been doing a lot is sort of saying and issuing orders and saying he's directing someone. He does it a lot on social media. Yesterday, he announced that he was going to do a 100% tariff on all movies produced abroad.
Now,
this is following.
Yes.
This is following all the other tariffs and all the other uncertainty and nightmares that the sort of overall bullshit is happening in this country. It's kind of hard for me to even think about it.
Hey, Chad, take a guess. How many American-made films are filmed abroad? Produced abroad. Have any of the work gone into their production done abroad? Basically all of them, no?
Basically all
of
vast
them.
majority.
Yeah.
Vast majority.
That's why we were talking
there's
about
a reason
things
for that.
earlier. Yeah.
So for a long time, films were made in Hollywood. They were shot on studio lots, things like that. It was very, very cheap. There were not a lot of rules, not a lot of unions.
I have an echo, apparently. Why do I have an echo? I don't hear an echo on my end. That's got to just be on your end.
Well, that's because I knew this would happen. God damn it. It should be fixed by now.
Okay. Testing. All right.
Yeah, you're good. Frustrating shit. Frustrating shit across the board. This is because I wanted to fix that fucking problem you were having, and now we've got all these other nightmares popping up every step of the way. Let's see.
Okay, I'm going to center myself, and that's where I need to not move from. Okay. All right. I'm not going to drift off the square this time. Okay.
All right.
How many people watch the garbage they produce anymore? Look, we're trying, okay?
I think he's talking about Hollywood.
I know.
Fuck. I could just work on this all day. My fucking brain wants to just dive into the code again. It's all I've been doing for like the last 4 days, and it's
okay. That'll be a great episode. You do that.
Wouldn't it be just wonderful and exciting? Yeah, exactly. So Trump and his tariffs have been fucking up the entire economy globally. It's not a new thing. This isn't even an interesting thing. Everyone's quite aware of it. But one of the things he does is basically introduce uncertainty. There's almost a better version of this where he just does everything he says and we know we can trust it. Somehow that's better than the version we've got, which is not being able to trust what he's saying. So yesterday he says, we're going to do 100% tariff on all movies produced outside of America. I'm not sure how you would even quantify this. You would go through production budgets, which, you know, Hollywood is so good at accurate production budgets and having recoup cuts not be a thing that's completely fucked with by accounting. I guess you'd look at those and you would charge them that much in tariffs to have a movie play here. But like the scarier part is movies aren't physical goods. The movies aren't produced elsewhere. You don't literally, like, DVDs are made elsewhere.
Well, what it demonstrates, he doesn't know what a tariff is. He thinks a tariff is just a tax you put on anything. But the entire point to a tariff is that it's something levied on import. It's an import cost. You pay money to bring it into the country.
Well, and on top of it, movies are actually what's called a service. And service tariffs are a thing that we really don't want to touch into. A service tariff, for example, is people having work done abroad that they use here. Not produced, but work done abroad. So if you have a call center in India, for example, having all of that exists as a service. Digital goods, for example, what you buy on Amazon, the shit you stream on Netflix, items in Dota 2, these are actually not goods traditionally. These are services that you're purchasing. So you're technically buying a license. When you buy a film on Amazon, you're not actually buying a movie, not in the same way you buy a DVD, but you're buying a license. That license is a service. There are currently no service tariffs. In fact, the primary way the U.S. has made its money in the last few years, but also really how we exist and why we have these massive trade surpluses with other countries, is because of service tariffs. Because of the lack of service tariffs. Services are basically done here and exported. We export services in extraordinary numbers. The video games that are produced here that are sold elsewhere, that's a service by law. When you start talking about taxing movies, you actually break a line that people thought was very much in place, which is that services will not become tariffed reciprocally. You'll notice China didn't do that. They're banning movies, but they're not adding service tariffs. They're not playing with this in the same way, because that line is one that I think a lot of people sort of expected
I have
not
actually
to be
never
broken.
heard. I've never heard that term until today. Service tariffs.
It's just not a thing people tariff.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
Well, most of the world, Western world,
Google's AI is confused by it too. Yeah, go on.
Most of the world, the rest of the world, we do what's called a value-added tax, VAT. A lot of European countries have VAT taxes. There's issues with it, whatever it is. But that's where basically someone buys something in Europe and you pay a VAT. And you buy a digital good, you pay VAT on top of it. This is kind of a service tax, a little bit. It's kind of a confusing thing, but this stuff is not done this way. It's one of the things that happened in the last few days that I think is like a result of this as a thing. One sec, let me find it. I didn't have this thought through in the sense of like this would actually be relevant. But so CS2 skins on Counter-Strike 2 skins have gone, the term here is parabolic. The value of CS2 skins in the last 2-3 weeks, because of tariffs, by the way, has exploded. Because ultimately, this is a way around tariffs in China, and the Steam marketplace is basically going under the radar for Chinese users. So we have a really weird sub-market of things that are still moving beyond borders, still moving around them. And movies is part of that, because you can't tariff a movie. You can't tariff a video game. It would make no sense. What part of a video game is made elsewhere? Well, it's, we actually we outsourced some of our art to India and some to China. Okay, so how much of that do you then VAT tax what? Do you VAT tax the Walmart disc? Do you VAT tax, like, it makes no sense.
Well, but here's the thing, and I was thinking about this. It's remarkable that someone who spent as much time in show business as Trump has would do something as stupid.
Except that he's really, really stupid.
And he thinks that all of these things are actually tied to physical media. And so he is literally talking about the import of tapes and the import of discs and so on and so forth. And he thinks these are solid
he might
objects.
be. He might be. He's being advised by Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and John Voight on film issues. So it's a motley crew, to put it nicely. But this idea, and how he put it, just to say, I'm authorizing the Department of Commerce, the United States Trade Representative, to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. And Lutnick reposted it. The Commerce Secretary reposted it on fucking social media and said, "We're on it." So last night was, we'll say, a fury of texts and emails from a lot of different people and to a lot of different people in the film industry. Everyone like, what the fuck? This will flatly destroy the American film industry. This would flatly destroy the American film industry. The reason you film elsewhere is not because it's technically cheaper. It is, but that's not really it. You do it because you get tax breaks. A huge amount of tax breaks. Canada does tax breaks. EU does some. Southeast Asia does extraordinary amount. The government matches dollars often. People film elsewhere because they actually are incentivized to. The U.S. does none of this. In fact, it seems that Trump's only ability to consider to change things is actually to use a stick and to beat people over the head with it. But of course, because even sticking with this would be better than the alternative. The alternative is, of course, that the White House is walking back the tariff announcement today. What the fuck, man?
Here's the thing. It's important that the White House is walking it back and not Trump is walking it back. And I think this really speaks to, again, going back to the signal thing, the chain of command and internal confidence in his who are we even referring to anymore? The people he talks to, there is no coordination or communication between these people. And I have to wonder, like, is he just doing things and then being told by 5 or 10 people, hey, look, switches are going to start being flicked if you don't modify this somewhat.
It's all I can think. It's an absolutely insane way to sort of have this go about.
And here's the thing, like, if he had just put just a flat tax of some kind on virtually all movie producers where one element of the production took place overseas, that was like considered part of the production, not just like their whatever. Okay, here's what would happen. Producers would either go, and then pay it, or they would go, and then not pay it. What's happening instead is that, what's going to happen is that decisions are going to be arrested, people are going to pause, and in that uncertainty, they are going to produce nothing. At the end of that period, they are then going to not pay that tax because they will be contemplating alternatives for however long this is in limbo. So what's going to happen is that, again, like it's not even a matter of the United States now being hostile to business. It's that nobody knows. And because they don't know, they're going to slow down their decision making. And as they slow down their decision making, they're going to not commit to any one course of action. They're going to be considering all of their possible courses of action. And that's going to build up networks that actually eliminate, weirdly enough, Trump's bargaining power, which is not intrinsically a bad thing if you're not, reliant on the flourishing of the American economy for your livelihood.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's the problem with uncertainty. It makes people think.
I mean,
you need it to not make people think.
It's hard for me to disagree with that. Are you able to hear me still, by the way?
I can hear you just fine.
All right, good.
Was I talking over you? I couldn't really tell.
Nope, I am trying to see if I can fix a thing. So we'll see with the next super chat if I did.
Did the last one not go through?
Last one did go through, but it wasn't a TTS, so it's fine.
An inferior super chat.
No, well, it was a perfectly fine question, because there's a lot of sort of shit around this, but the
Moth super chatted $5. I'm like 90% sure this entire tariff nonsense is just Trump doing what Elon does on Twitter, cause panic to short sell and buy low.
Hey Brooks,
yeah.
You now can't hear the super chats, but I can. That was weird. You didn't hear that?
No.
Moth just donated $5.
Oh, well, I made it worse.
Why could you not hear that? That makes no sense.
I don't know.
Thank you, Moth. Appreciate it. Yeah, Brooks didn't hear the TTS. I heard it. I was just waiting. I was like, is there like latency or something? Nope. Weird.
I don't know.
Weird.
I don't know. Yeah, don't know what to tell you. I'll just have to be watchful.
Apparently. But what did you do to make it not audible on your end? That makes no sense.
I don't know. I've got a whole bunch of shit going on. Trying to fix the problem that we had last week, making more problems. Because there is no simple solution for what we're doing, which is insane to me still. We've got years of streaming, and there is no, hey, easy way to just share, have audio in one place under one thumb. Hey, collaborate and look at the same web page. How can we not fucking do that? It's insane to me. It's a broken, weird system.
Insomnian Noir tipped $4.20. Out of order? Fuck. Even in the future, nothing works.
It's under $5, though, so it's fine. I don't think it played. I still didn't hear the audio.
I heard it. I heard it just fine.
That's fantastic for you.
Yep. Yep. All sizes of donations through Stream Elements are played by TTS. To make the Nazis pay more, super chats have to be $5 and up.
Yeah, we're terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. 2 seconds. Let's see. No, we'll have to deal with it. Just keep moving. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. What do you want to do? It's like fucking, I'm so fucking fried after coding for 4 or 5 days.
Oh my God.
Well, it's a lot. Look, sitting inside of code and sitting inside this. And then last night, well, we'll move to the next thing. Cause I think it's, the thing that's fascinating to me, like as a story, ultimately, is when we start talking about the Trump admin and hacking. That's the thing. Thank you, Cryborn, for the $2. It's great. Because the silliness of what's been going on across the board with the Trump admin sort of as a thing is kind of very difficult for me to sort of mentally handle, to be frank. Because last night I was sort of started going through, they had it was revealed that the White House is not simply using Signal.
No,
remember Signalgate?
They're using Timo Signal. Yeah.
They're using it's actually kind of a joke, but they're using worse than that. They're using IDF developed Signal. Ex-IDF intelligence groups.
Hey, who wasn't the IDF one of those people that they were talking about fucking over in the Signal group chat we were covering a little while ago? Yeah, I think they were actually. Shit. Okay.
Well, this Signal program or platform called Telemessages is a clone of Signal that on top of Signal added the ability, or I shouldn't say that. They added a version of software on top of Signal that takes everything that's sent by anyone in that Signal program and archives it to their own private server without letting the user know. So, the point of Signal is that shit gets deleted over time, and it's a deeply secure end-to-end messaging. Their version of it takes the messages you and everyone else sends, and we'll go through this because this is wild to me. This is fucking wild. And it uploads them to Amazon's AWS servers. You sign up through it with plain text phone numbers, and tokens are sent out in plain text across things. Now, this is not, as far as anyone's been able to tell, software that was used by anyone before Trump. Signal was a thing that the Biden admin and other people authorized using. They did not authorize telemessages. The language on the authorizations is actually really, really fucking clear. So this is telemessages, which is TM Signal. And they found this out because this weird idiot here, who's now out, Mike Waltz, this little thing, when you zoomed in on his phone down here, this little phone he's holding, people saw that it didn't say Signal. It saw TM Signal because I guess he didn't want the person to the right of him to see the screen, but photographers should be able to see everything. And so this sent these guys on 404 Media down this most insane rabbit hole. These guys who are like this weird community of hackers and tech people.
I guess we've solved the mystery, though, of why Mike Waltz invited that journalist to the Signal call. He's just a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, I wish it was just that.
Okay.
Because it gets really a lot worse. So Telemessage is an Israeli company that sells modified version of Signal and other messaging apps, WhatsApp and other things. So you can buy those. To the government, it's to the government. Joan, a lovely super chat there.
Thank you, Ginger Ailing. Appreciate it for the $5. Why did that one not play?
That was only $3.
Oh, Australian money. Yeah.
Yes.
We discriminate, apparently. Shameful.
Let's see if the super chat actually goes off the edge of the screen, because June likes to send long notes too. So when we say for the government, they mean for this government. As far as we can tell, there hasn't been an ongoing thing, at least in general. But a hacker came to them. They'd been researching this for a while to the point where they released the source code for TM Signal. They found the source code for this app I have on my computer and was going through it like last night for like 2 hours. That's like wild. And the weird things they do, like, again, there's no hashing or salting of passwords or phone numbers. Everything's sent plain text over the wire. So if like, hey, what phone number do you have? Oh, I'm going to sign up with this phone number. Sends it plain text. Like, it's just really insane for what is ostensibly supposed to be like a Signal encryption clone thing. So this hacker found them and went, hey, I got a bunch of stuff. And just to read it a little bit.
Speaking of getting a bunch of stuff, though, thank you, Grizzler, for the 10 gifted memberships. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'm the one who's going to be stepping over all the super chats today. Sunday's going to be the one getting them.
But why?
I don't know. The data stolen by the hacker contains the contents of some direct messages and group chats sent using the Signal clone, as well as a modified version of WhatsApp, Telegram, and WeChat. Telemessage was recently the center of a wave of media coverage after Mike Waltz accidentally revealed he used the tool in a cabinet meeting with President Trump. The hack shows that an app gathering messages of the highest-ranking officials in government. Waltz's chats on the app include recipients that appear to be Marco Rubio, Gabbard, and Vance, contain serious vulnerabilities that allowed a hacker to trivially access the archived chats of some people who use the same tool. When we say trivially, apparently it took him 20 minutes. Which is not like, that's not where it should start. It should not be like, oh, I'm curious, and then in you go.
And by the way, so if they're using Signal and they're using this not Signal, they're
Cryborn super chatted $4.99. Can you tell Brooks that chat says hi?
That's explicitly not $5. Why did that one go through?
It counts.
That's bullshit.
$5 super chats. That's what it counts them as. It's a YouTube API thing. It even pulled it through, but notice it didn't put it in the $5 one in mine because I do the check afterwards. It's not in the.
Also, all that text is black still. You cannot read that.
It's going to be black. I can't fix that. Do you want me to go recode it right now?
Yes,
motherfucker.
Yes, I do.
Don't tempt me. And hello, Cryborn in chat.
What I was going to say very quickly.
I'm still here. I'm not like somewhere else. I'm still here. I just can't hear the goddamn super chat, you motherfuckers.
He's actually recording.
I'm doing the thing. I fucking love you guys. To continue, data related to customs and border protection. The cryptocurrency giant Coinbase and other financial institutions are included in hacked material, according to screenshots of messages and backend systems obtained by 404 Media. Because the thing to remember is, Signal encrypts everything end to end. But when it's displayed to the end user, when it's shown, when it's downloaded to your device, that is an insecure thing by dint of kind of how it functions. It has to exist. Your phone is not encrypted to your eyes, and data isn't encrypted at that level. But everything that is displayed on Signal or used in Signal, including everyone else in all these group chats, including group chats with Coinbase and other crypto firms, which just genuinely I'm stunned by. We're going to see a lot of that, but this is the thing at the base of it. The hacker did not access all messages stored or collected by telemessage, but could have likely accessed more data if they decided to, underscoring the extreme risk posed by taking ordinarily secure end-to-end encrypted messaging apps such as Signal and adding an extra archiving feature to them. Which is, I love the sentence. It's so basic. It's so basic. I adore it.
This reminds me just a little bit of that whole private email server scandal that Hillary Clinton had a long, long time ago, if anyone remembers. Doesn't that sound so secure and safe now?
I would say the whole process took 15 to 20 minutes, the hacker said, describing how he broke in. It wasn't much effort at all. And here is screenshots with emails from people who were in the conversations. And these are all like Department of Homeland Security.gov. Across just a huge number of people.
I want to point out that, like, we actually, the fact that they're using multiples of these programs, of these apps, we don't actually know that this is all the ones that they're using, do we?
No.
Like, if they're using this against the rules, on personal phones, as we've established, like,
Wig, thank you.
Wig, thanks so much. Very generous. Appreciate it.
Very generous.
So many more people, 50 more people can now warn us that we are doing the thing now.
I like our emojis. We need to put a lot more in, but I like them so far.
I like the idea of our emojis. The implementation needs some work. The crane one works pretty well at that scale. We need something for the thing that's legible, and I can't for the life of me figure out what would actually show up.
I think they're fine. I think
the movie box one is fine. The text one is just
the text one sucks. The movie box one, I think it works. It just isn't identifiable. It's tough. To continue, a message sent to a group chat called Upstanding Citizens Brigade, which is like, I don't even know how. I want everyone in that group chat to just be slapped across the face for naming of that. Says its source type is Signal, indicating it came from Telemessage's modified version of messaging app. The message itself was a link to this tweet posted on Sunday. clip of NBC Meet the Press interview with Trump about his meme coin. The hacked data includes phone numbers that were a part of the group chat. So, it was Trump talking about my meme coin went up in value. How much? It's actually really embarrassing. Do you want to see the clip? It's really embarrassing.
Oh, no, but we should.
Boop, 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 boop.
You've branded your own cryptocurrency. The coin's values actually surged recently after you announced that top holders would be invited to have dinner.
I don't even know that. What did it surge to?
What did it surge to?
Yeah, what's it worth? You might as well tell me, because I have no idea.
Well, it surged. It surged. I will find it. Hold on one second. 5.2 or 58%. So 58%.
To what number?
That's not bad. 14.32.
What?
I like it a lot. It's great. I find him funny. It's great. I find it good.
What? Billion?
No, dollars per cryptocurrency.
$1 billion?
No.
What's the number? I mean, what is the amount?
The meme coin's value hit a peak of 75.35 on January 19th.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
And that's before your inauguration, and then it surged.
Look, I'm in favor of crypto.
I think he is. He's wonderfully embarrassing. He's wonderfully embarrassing. I just dig it as a thing. He's stunning. But here's the deal.
$1 billion.
What, billion? No, just the value of the token. So, I don't know. He looks how I feel sometimes. I can empathize with the that he kind of does, the confused thing. He has no clue what's happening. But that link was sent to this other group, and they've got all the phone numbers, and they're doing research on who those people are right now, which is fun. One hacked message was sent to a group chat apparently associated with the crypto firm Galaxy Digital, which is a major crypto funding firm. Major. And the message said, quote, "We need 7 Dems to get to 60, would be very close," to the GD Macro group, Galaxy Digital Macro. Another message said, "Just spoke to a D staffer on the Senate side. 2 co-sponsors, also Brooks and Gillibrand, did not sign the opposition letter. They think the bill has a good chance of passage, the Senate with 5 more Ds supporting it." This means the hacker was able to steal what appears to be active, timely discussion about efforts behind passing a hugely important and controversial cryptocurrency bill. Saturday, Democratic lawmakers published a letter explaining they would oppose it. Co-sponsors Angela Alsobrooks and Kirsten Gillibrand did not sign that letter. One screenshot, this was, by the way, Saturday. Saturday. So this hack happened yesterday. This info was from Saturday. So they're up on it. One screenshot of the hacker's access to telemessages panel lists names, phone numbers, and email addresses of CBP officials. Screenshot says select 0 of 747, indicating there may be that many CBP officials included in the data. A similar screenshot shows the contact information of current and former Coinbase employees. Another screenshot mentions Scotiabank. Financial institutions might turn to a tool like telemessage to comply with regulations around keeping copies of communications. Governments have legal requirements to preserve messages in a similar way. And here's the screenshot from the hacker where he's actually showing, he's just going through all of the texts. Like, just straight through. Which is amazing to me. It's amazing to me. It's 404 phoned some of the phone numbers listed as belonging to CBP officials. In one case, a person who answered said their name was the same as the one included in the hacked data. They confirmed their affiliation with CBP. The voicemail message for another included the name included in the data. 404 Media ran several phone numbers that appeared to be associated with employees at crypto firms Coinbase and Galaxy through a search tool called OSINT Industries, which confirmed these phone numbers belonged to people who work for those companies.
You know what the craziest thing about this is? This is the most minor intelligence breach that these guys have going right now.
Well, it's the most minor one that, yeah, it's...
No, but legitimately, because we have this whole thing where we've got people from Doge with no actual clear like chain of command.
Yep.
Going in, downloading massive amounts of shit and deleting the evidence.
Yep.
That like, what is going on?
The server the hacker compromised is hosted on Amazon's AWS cloud infrastructure in Virginia. By reviewing the source code of the telemessage's modified Signal app for Android, 404 confirmed the app sends a message data to that endpoint. 404 Media also made an HTTP request to the server to confirm it is online. Telemessages came to the fore after blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. It is not true that an archiving solution properly preserves the security offered by an end-to-end encrypted messaging app such as Signal. Ordinarily, only someone sending a Signal message and their intended recipient will be able to read the contents of the message. Telemessage essentially adds a third party to that conversation by sending copies of these messages somewhere else for storage. If not stored securely, these messages could in turn be susceptible to monitoring or falling into the wrong hands. That risk has become real. I would just say all of the messages that the entirety of the Trump administration have sent since they started using this, which apparently is kind of a while, are all in the wild somewhere and certainly in the hands of nefarious or alternative entities. I would assume Israel absolutely has copies. It's a IDF front. But I think anyone else in that space probably has them too and was happily using them because they don't want to publicize, hey, we've got all of that shit. They should stop it. They would never do that.
Smith Black, thank you so much for the. I can't actually see how much that is, but that's a new icon with the multiple cranes.
Yeah, that's the memberships.
Oh, interesting. Why'd that only pop up for him?
I don't know.
Weird.
I didn't even get it. Wait, what happened?
I guess he got a membership.
He subscribed. Yeah, became a member. That's what that means usually. You haven't been seeing those because you haven't been able to hear them. Now I can't hear them, and I understand the confusion. Every time someone joins a membership, it pops up with that. And also gifts them. It shows up for the gifting, too. They're still going through all of it, but it's amazing. I mean, it's... I just... the idea that they use this tool, I don't believe, and I haven't seen anyone report in any way that the government is the one funding this or that the government's the one using this tool. Government agencies can use the tool apparently, or they have that deal, but I haven't seen anyone say that. Instead, it seems to be pointing to the idea that this is actually a Trump company tool. And so until shown otherwise, we kind of need to presume that this is Trump's media entity or holding company that does all this stuff, that is running all of this, and that all of these people are using that version of Signal, which, just to mention, whoever owns that account would have access to everyone's Signal messages in every capacity, period. Which, again, would kind of lead us into places where it starts talking about how people are being seen, how people are being watched over, how people are being set up. And until otherwise, we should not assume that this is a government account.
Yeah. I'm kind of just lost for words here. It's just...
Well, don't get too excited because we're not done with the hack news, because Trump also... the airline that Trump uses for deportations was hacked.
Oh, right. Fuck.
And these guys got the global... Because we live in an era of deep insecurity. And good on these guys. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is what hacktivism actually is. Basically, they got passenger lists of GlobeX flights from January to now, and the data includes people who have been deported. Hackers have targeted GlobeX Air, one of the main airlines the Trump administration is using as part of its deportation efforts, and stolen what they say are flight records and passenger manifests of all of its flights, including those for deportation. The data, hackers contacted 404 and other journalists about, could provide granular insight into who exactly has been deported, when, and to where, with GlobeX being the charter company that facilitated the deportation of hundreds of Venezuelans to El Salvador. Anonymous is the one ultimately taking credit for it. The hacker says the data includes flight records, passenger lists. They cross-checked known information about ICE deportation flights that came from official and confirmable sources with information contained on the flight manifests. For example, hackers obtained what appears to be detailed flight information about Globex flights via blah blah that left from Harlingen, Texas's Valley International Airport on March 15th. These flights were the center of a class action lawsuit filed by 5 pseudonymous Venezuelan men against the Trump administration, eventually went to the Supreme Court, and which took off during and immediately following a court proceeding in which lawyers were trying to get restraining order to prevent the flights from taking off. During a district court proceeding in Washington, D.C., the federal government argued it had no flight information to share with the court. Quote, the government surprisingly represented that it still had no flight details to share. During the hearing, the judge's opinion in that case reads, when pressed, government counsel stated that the operational details he had learned during the recess raised potential national security issues, so they could not be shared with the public and while the public and press listened. Fucking assholes. Although the government refused to provide details, all evidence suggests that during the short window the court was adjourned, 2 removal flights took off from Harlingen, one around 5:25, the other at 5:45, court records say. Noting these were Globex flights 6143 and 6145. A third referenced flight left immediately following the hearing. These details closely match the timing of flights and other details in the hacked data. Also included in the data is a record mentioning the name Hamar Padilla Moyatones, a 24-year-old woman who was flown from Texas to Honduras, then Honduras to El Salvador by mistake, and then was returned to Texas. The data obtained by the hacker says that Globex flew her from Valley International Airport to Honduras on March 15th, then was flown from Comayagua, I'm not going to pronounce that correctly, I apologize, in Honduras to El Salvador International on Flight 6144 later that day. She was then flown directly from El Salvador back to Valley International Airport on March 15th.
It's crazy. The stories
insane.
we hear about Canadians being held and detained at border stations and not being able to access their lawyers. It's crazy how that can happen to American citizens as well, just because they're denied access to any sort of legal counsel and to their documents and so on and so forth. Like, amazing what happens when you just like destroy any due process whatsoever to let a bunch of low achieving hooligans just power trip with strangers. It's
they're currently going through, and they're not releasing the names. They're going through to verify all of those who were on the deportation flights. And they're going through the data like actively right now. And they're not alone. A lot of reporters are going ultimately through it. Because again, this is insane shit.
Imagine if this government was competent. It's terrifying.
It's one of the saving graces of our time is that it turns out that fascists are really fucking stupid.
These ones in particular. This is a special case. I think this is a bit of a... Generally, yes. This is still special. There's something distinct about this.
Yeah, they are unique. That's for sure. These people, they are unique. That's for sure.
Exceptional, even.
No, they are special.
Okay, now you took it too far.
Special.
Shameful.
Yeah.
Disavow. I do not.
It's just painful as a thing because when you're talking about like who these people are, how they interact, how they think about things, what they're doing, how they post stuff. You sent over, and it's always worth showing the nightmare that is the White House Twitter feed or X feed. Them posting this, it hurts my brain that this exists as a thing. Happy May the 4th, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting so hard to bring Sith lords, murderers, drug lords, dangerous prisoners, and well-known MS-13 gang members back into our galaxy. You're not the rebellion, you're the empire.
You would like Andor. It's about current stuff in a very pithy way.
I hate it. I hate all of that shit.
You haven't seen it. You should watch it.
Fuck that.
You should watch it, and we should have to talk about it afterwards.
Oh god.
Chat. If we get $50 in donations today, he has to watch Andor, and we have to talk about it. He has to watch Andor every.
He posted an image where he's a Sith.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. You're right. Fuck. Doesn't even know Star Wars.
I mean, they can't. Oh God.
Also, I do like how the thing that has. Oh God. You're not the rebellion, you're the empire. Well, then why are you the one targeting criminals? The rebellion doesn't target criminals. They're the rebellion. They're criminal. That doesn't work.
They don't care. They don't care.
Obviously.
They're functionally morons. And again, the very idea that they're having a conversation or talking about it, no, just you're the bad guys. That's for them all that matters. It has nothing to do with, hey, was there ever anything about trade embargoes that led to the empire being created? Was there ever a dissolving of the Senate and doing away with the judiciary and legislative branch that created the empire? Hey, is the empire all about one guy who sort of
not in Andor? Not in Andor. It's not at that point yet, but it's really good. Chat, we're gonna have Andor. We're gonna have an Andor stream. We're gonna have an Andor stream if we get $50. Okay.
I think I figured
from
out.
This point,
I think I figured out what my thing is going to be. That's going to cause me to go off like you did. That's fucking Andor.
Good. Good.
It's
restore the balance.
This is our president, and they think this is a good idea to post. And it's like all of these things that start happening when you start talking about technology, social media, how Trump is interacting with it. There's, I promise it's my last 404 article for the day. Maybe.
I don't believe
Probably
it.
not. 404 has been doing a lot of great work. If you haven't been going, by the way, 404media.co. They've been doing phenomenal work. Most of it is completely free. It's a sign up. They do have membership accounts. You should support them. Oh, Gengaros.
Gengaros super chatted $4.99. $5 for Brooks and a watch stream it live.
I love you. But
we're 45 away from.
I'm not watching.
We're 45 away. We're 45 away.
That you think away. I'm that cheap of
45 away gets us the first season of Andor. An additional 50 gets us the second season.
No, I'm not $50. No, my time is worth more than that. Thank you very much. But I appreciate the $5.
200. 50 for half of season 1 of Andor. 50 for the other. 50 for one half of season 2 of Andor. 50 for the other. Expiring after a 1 week period if you don't fill the block.
Oh God.
Wig super chatted $5.73. Doing my part making you watch Andor.
Thank you very much.
You're now 40 away. Did you see that video clip of that MAGA guy who was praying to Donald Trump to save him at a traffic stop? Because I disagree with you slightly. I think that Star Wars thing was the smartest tweet he's made in a little while, just propagandistically.
I don't think people care. I think again, it's just massaging the same things inside of the same people.
Yeah.
Because look.
Now propaganda doesn't matter. No, go on. Sorry.
No, I'm talking about like social media and how they deal with it. This article headline for
tipped $5, donating to not make Brooks watch another shitty Star Wars property.
Note with it, but thank you very much.
Doesn't work that way. So we're 35 away now for the first half of season 1.
Fucking motherfucker. So fucking people. This headline, and I'm going to read it out loud. And this is a thing that...
Oh, God, yeah. This
just as U.S. denies picking bombing targets from random Twitter accounts.
Now, here's the thing. I'm actually
I don't even want to have this conversation almost.
But we will.
We have to, but it's like, that's a sentence that I now have to go, oh, God.
Rooster Rick super chatted $15. This reminds me of what happens in Andor.
It does, actually. That's so true. I'm glad you said that. We are now 20 away. Very quickly. I'm going. Okay.
I'm just depressed. I'm gonna have to watch this goddamn show.
I'm just grinding your gears on purpose here, but
no. Just save the Andor conversation for if that happens. We're done for now.
I was going to talk about Ukraine.
The
guarantee
U.S.
you
is denying that it's used
yes.
Twitter accounts to decide where to bomb.
Okay, but here's the thing.
It shouldn't be able to deny that because there shouldn't be even the hint towards that.
I agree. However, one of the things that happened that was really brought to the fore during the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, because we were all up watching it and watching Twitter accounts. Why? Because Twitter accounts are independently owned by randos who have phones and can see things at a much wider breadth than official intelligence can. And we've seen this on October 7th when they were using WhatsApp to coordinate targets. This has absolutely already been the norm for a very long time. Because why on earth would you not, if you can get away with it, use these in order to just essentially algorithmically?
No. So here's the thing. There is using Twitter as an intelligence source.
Yes.
I totally get. That is not the thing. That's not what happened here.
No, well, that's the difference, because this is not.
Gengeros super chatted $19.99.
Oh, for
there.
fuck's sake.
Also, when we getting a General Grievous show? H is acutely a freedom fighter, good guy for his people in the books.
Well, if you saw what happened to General Grievous at the end of at the midpoint of Revenge of the Sith, that's basically going to be Brooks after episode 3 of Andor.
It's not going to be far from it. And by the way, Asajj Ventress is the best freedom fighter when it comes to any of the Sith Lords or people involved with the Sith.
Okay, so we're going to watch the Outlaws series after Andor. Then I'm glad that's a good suggestion. We're going to watch Star Wars Outlaws after we're done with Andor. Okay. You're right, because here's the key difference. The Trump administration isn't investigating targets based on tips from Twitter. They are firing at targets based on tips from Twitter.
Yep.
Which I laugh, but it's horrifying.
And just to mention, Not So Oedipus points out, with this story, the IDF has been using WhatsApp for years, but again, the question is, are they using WhatsApp or are they using this modified thing? Because again, the modified thing was created by former IDF special intelligence groups, which is hilarious. And I think we know how that works. I think we know generally how that works. I want to read a little bit because this hurt my brain to read, and I'm going to force everyone to deal with it. U.S. CENTCOM, the part of the Pentagon that oversees its wars in the Middle East, denies that the United States military bombed a target in Yemen based on posts on X from an anonymous open-source intelligence account, which identified it as Houthi base before the bombing and apologized for their post after local news reports said civilians died there. A defense official declined to say whether it was the U.S. that bombed the target. But said that the military does not use information posted by open-source intelligence accounts on social media to select targets. The defense official said CENTCOM uses detailed and comprehensive intelligence to conduct strikes against Houthis. It is common for the U.S. to kill civilians in airstrikes, as done so several times in Yemen. For example, on Monday, Reuters reported it killed dozens of people when it combed a detention center for African migrants. Last week, a small OSINT account on X apologized for incorrectly identifying a quarry in Yemen as an underground base after a U.S. airstrike blew it up and killed 8 people. The account Vlekelhand. At least it's not like Big Balls 69.
You know what it reminds me of exactly? The debate between Mon Mothma and Director Krennic concerning the Battle of Carmine, which was actually just a massacre. It's the exact same apologetics being used here. From Andor Season 2.
I have a chopstick here that I'm debating on shoving very far up my nose and twirling it. The account retweeted another OSINT account in early April with pictures of what both suggested was an underground Houthi base. Vlecki noted the area's exact coordinates. Last one northwest of Sana'a, it said. On April 28th, the U.S. strike hit the region. Vlekelhand posted, according to local news reports, The attack hit houses near a quarry. Lecky and reporters on the ground in Yemen said there had never been an underground base there, and Lecky apologized on X after the strike. This is a thing that happened. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
he posted, hey, this is a secret base. A couple days later, it killed a bunch of civilians. And he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we don't do that. Promise.
You know what's funny and darkly funny? Go down to the comments. Read the top one.
Okay. Pretty soon we'll just have AI hallucinating targets. Pretty
We've
accurate.
already got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is possible for the Army independently made the exact same mistakes the Twitter person did, but unlike randos, they have missiles and a duty to verify.
But genuinely, like, here's the thing. At the very least, this was generated by human error, multiple steps to a horrific degree. But this is already a precedent that's not reported on, and I guarantee you the United States military is making similar decisions at some level that hasn't had a whistle blown yet. We already know that American allies using American weapons are using AI to generate targets based upon inputs we don't understand. Like, we're doing this already with a greater degree of randomness. The real scandal isn't that the United States is bombing targets based off of finger pointing by random Twitter accounts. The real scandal is that that's not the worst way people are picking targets these days. Like, it's just genuinely like.
Well, again, the reality of how we're set up and what we're doing now, the way that things work, the dysfunction at every level. Pete Hegseth has been running the Pentagon now for a few months, and the running joke is that he's not, because no one there respects him, gives a shit about him. They're firing people left, right, and center just to maintain
I'm
him
frankly
in that
surprised
spot.
Mike Waltz is leaving before he is.
What are you talking about? He's there to spend time with his family. He's had to spend. That's what they said. And I think, if I remember right, the reporter laughed. Steph's.
Those are so slow now. What the hell? So Wig donated 50 memberships, and we're seeing them pop up sporadically. What on earth is YouTube doing?
I have no idea.
I wonder if they've changed the algorithm so it only gives memberships to subscribers now. That might be it, actually. So we might just have a whole bunch of
Didn't Steph's comment that they were never coming back? So,
well, they have to now. It's not an option anymore.
No, I think they got a note. Yeah, it's fucking YouTube's broken. YouTube sucks. This whole every social media bit sucks. I'm joking, Steph's. Relax.
No, you're not. YouTube sucks.
No, YouTube does suck. That's fair. Because when we're talking about like our war in Yemen, it is we're gonna go a little bit more into how depressing this is. You didn't see this. This was a little bit ago. It's the kind of thing that I think is worth noting.
Oh, yeah, I was reading about this earlier.
Because when we talk about our war in Yemen, the Houthi hunting club patch, which is no longer on this website. This happened under Biden, by the way. Puts them
famously anti-genocidal President Biden.
Yeah, the guy who certainly wouldn't do any of those things. This is a badge photo taken at Naval Air Station. This is, as the article opens, well, President-elect Donald Trump accuses the U.S. military of being too woke. A morale patch showcased as on a Defense Department website suggests some troops are as bigoted as ever. While the military covered up evidence of the patch, removing photographs of them amid press outcry, the Pentagon has not disavowed it. Because they're morale badges. That's what they do. They're patches that are for morale. To make the troops feel better, because this makes them feel better, calling them sand people and aliens and otherizing and dehumanizing them wholly.
So this was published today. Check this out.
Oh, God.
So,
oh, no.
Yeah. So on this afternoon, a couple Houthi rockets.
Can you get your Canadian news? I keep like you silly ass news people. We have a real
I
country over
I
here.
didn't realize that was a CTV one. CTV is generally pretty good. They're just very boring. They kind of look like our stream, actually. Just
They're
red.
Canadian.
It literally looks like our stream aesthetic.
Well, yeah, it kind of does, actually. That's fair.
I'll just read this very quickly. Israel's military targeted Houthi rebels in Yemen's Red Sea city of Hodeidah with a punishing round of airstrikes a day after Iranian-backed rebels launched a missile that hit Israel's main airport. The rebels' media office said at least 6 strikes hit the crucial Hodeidah port Monday afternoon. Other strikes hit a cement factory in the Bajil district in Hodeidah province, the rebels said. The Israeli military said more than 20 Israeli fighter jets took part in the operation, dropping more than 50 munitions on dozens of targets. On Sunday, the Houthis launched a missile from Yemen that struck an access road near Israel's main airport, briefly halting flights and commuter traffic. 4 people were lightly injured. It was the first time a missile struck the grounds of Israel's airport since the start of the war. Look, Houthi-run health ministry said at least 21 people were wounded in the Israeli strikes on the Bajil cement factory. I guarantee you, the people who were injured in the strike on the Bajil cement factory, these were not military targets.
Oh, you mean Israel would bomb civilians?
Israel would.
I find that hard to believe.
Israel has a strict ethical obligation to human rights and the rule of law and due process, Brooks, as you well know. They're the last democracy in the Middle East.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault that all they have are baby-seeking
brown
missiles.
people to target. Yeah, I agree.
Baby-seeking guns and bullets. It's not their fault. It's just the way it goes. Okay, it's the way that the missiles are built. Only so much you can do. I just
yeah. Here's the thing.
We asked. It's a current thing that's happening right now. I'll pop an article for it in a second, but I can just mention it. People are trying to figure out. Hey, wait. We just noticed. No, you've never released how many U.S. soldiers have been killed in the war in what we're doing in Yemen. We know it's not 0, but we think it might be a lot more. Are you going to sort of help us here? And their answer is no. They're not telling the American people how many soldiers were killed in Yemen. They're all referring it to someone else. So just like think about how awful that is. Like it's the layers upon layers of shitheadedness is amazing to me. It's consistently actually pretty stunning, to be perfectly frank.
Oh no, there's no regard for American life either. Like just to be clear, the racism only extends to the point of killing innocent people. They don't really care about protecting any of the ones of their own, quote unquote.
Nope. One sec. Let me see if I can find, because there was one sec. Yeah, here we go. I find this. I always find this stuff fascinating when this happens, because it's usually they're pretty happy to do like the hey, soldiers are dying, we must care more thing. I mean, it's part of the propaganda project, right? But to not do that is kind of weird. The Trump administration intensifies its war on Yemen. U.S. officials continue to conceal the number of American casualties, raising concerns of a deliberate cover-up, The Intercept reported Friday. Since March, Washington has launched Operation Rough Rider, striking more than 1,000 sites in Yemen as part of its military campaign. While the administration has openly shared details of its actions, it has remained silent about the toll on U.S. forces. U.S. CENTCOM, the Pentagon, and the White House have refused to disclose casualty figures, prompting bipartisan calls for accountability. It is a really weird thing. It's just very weird. Oh, Moth.
Moth super chatted $5. The collateral damage is the entire point. The use of AI is to obscure fault and plausible deniability. The outcome is exactly what they want.
Yep.
Accurate.
Accurate. Yeah.
And it's a bonus. It's one of those things. It's like what a happy bonus that AI is doing it and that extra people are dying so it can create that sort of literal cloud of war with the debris itself.
It's
And
exactly, yeah.
That's what this stuff is.
It's basically exactly like when a mining disaster was used to cover up the destruction of Jeddah by the Death Star that didn't exist in Rogue One, which is the sequel to Andor. I'm gonna go to the washroom. I'll be 1 second, okay?
Yeah. Did it not money for YouTube too? Wig? It should money for YouTube as well. We have it for both. And maybe it's not as funny to some people. How I learned about this, and I'm reading the Intercept article and everywhere else. Apparently, there was a fighter jet on the Harry Truman that they did an evasive maneuver, and the jet flew off the side, like when you take a turn too hard and like change on your dashboard, like flies out your window, except it's $60 million in change and a fighter jet. It didn't kill anyone, but in my head, I just am thinking about like the captain like slamming it on and the fighter jet. Like I don't know why. I'm always confused, I think, by most of this. I'm always confused by it. It's a fascinating thing. According to The Intercept, this marks a sharp break from the past president. Under Biden, Pentagon provided details breakdowns of attacks and casualties across the Middle East. It's been very normal. It's, hey, people who have died, you don't do it maybe for like weird special strikes or whatever that you don't tell people about, but there's a war going on, and apparently the deaths are in the dozens or more, and it's also being hidden. But this goes with, like, the number of deaths in Yemen has been an ongoing, like, meme itself. The Radio War Nerd, who I adore, I always recommend, wonderful podcast
He's
on
very
sort of
good.
the world. He and Mark Ames for years have done reporting and talking about how this weird thing happened where we stalled out at like 10,000 deaths in Yemen in like 2010, and how every year people say, so 10,000 dead. But like it's been like 3 years since the first time they said this. So there's this weird stalling out of not wanting to talk about death in Yemen. And you see this even still. So when you start talking about like, well, how
Gaza.
many people...
Gaza's a great example. Like how many people died in Gaza? 50,000 and stayed 50,000 for half a year.
Yeah, it just happens to be that same number. And it's like, that's weird.
Good thing they solved death in Gaza. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Getting worried there.
Yeah. And it's yeah, it's a weird thing, man. When we start talking about like all of this, I am just continually confused that what is the way for us to consider this? What is the way for us to think through and have this conversation when we're talking about, hey, the people who are the most incompetent across the board, like they're like the worst upward fail sons who've ever existed, every single fucking one of them. There's no competence anywhere. We had the first Trump administration, he brought in bastards, but they were bastards who were competent. Oh.
The Left Tech Cat super chatted $6.65 US using Russian-style obfuscation tactics on war losses. Interesting.
Well, I mean, if the U.S. didn't start with it, I would agree with that. Here's the thing.
Actually, this is new for the U.S. Like, flat out not answering how many people are dying is a very new thing for us. But it's always been, yeah. Of our own soldiers, to be fair.
I thought there was like wasn't there an Al Jazeera thing like 20 years ago about like they're obscuring the casualties in Iraq?
Obscuring the American casualties or the enemy combatants?
Here, actually, I just found it. Wow, it's right there. Look at that. Here, check this out.
Send it over, please.
Yeah. That is a blurry ass photo, or it's just not rendering.
Maybe it's not. I assumed it was.
I thought this has been a thing
because I remember this.
By forever, I mean like in the last 30 years, because that's forever for me.
grossly unreported casualties by simply not declaring incidents where no soldiers were killed. Oh, well, see again. Okay. This has to do with
generic.
This has to do with casualties in the like injured and hurt or whatever,
as opposed
sense.
to dead. Yeah,
yeah. They're flat out not saying how many American soldiers have died, and that is new.
But here's the thing, though. People tend to equate casualties with killed because we have a cartoonish idea of war. So when you're lowering the number of injured, you're doing something kind of similar. Because otherwise you'd want to inflate the numbers, right? You'd want to be going like, look, our soldiers are dying, and you'd want to inflate that number as much as possible. We need to care about this. Obviously, in the case of Iraq, it runs counter to the whole America triumphant and vengeful narrative, but...
Yeah. It's tough.
I don't know. There is a distinction.
Well, I'll say that as it feels newish to me in the sense of like simply not answering and how they're doing it. It's not that they're denying; they're obfuscating through they're obfuscating through bureaucracy. So what happened is the Intercept hit up. I think it was first CENTCOM, which is who you usually hit up, and then CENTCOM was like, "Oh, ask the Pentagon," and the Pentagon was like, "Oh, ask the White House," and the White House was like, "Oh, ask CENTCOM."
It's not even obscuring behind like various like just things. It's not obscuring through measures where it's like, okay, we're going to filter the data. It's like literally just nobody is accountable. Even for just generating estimates.
Yeah. I'm hesitant. It gives me pause to sort of have that conversation, but yeah, it's different. And it's a different type of, again, incompetence or silliness or weirdness where things are whatever they need to be, and they're doing their best to just always keep that there. It allows them the narrative room to do anything they want, basically, right? No? Maybe?
Yes, but the reason why I'm hesitant to accept that is because it also kind of seems like they already have that. So there's a superfluity to this that I find strange.
What do you mean they already have that?
At the point where you are posing the question, you're at a degree of remove from the popular discourse already, where it's fair. Like, I don't think this is the kind of thing. I have trouble imagining that they would be attentive to this if the numbers weren't significant. Hearing about 30 people, let's say 30 U.S. operatives dying in Yemen, not exciting. Hearing about 100, not really that exciting. 1,000 is where you get weird. So what this tells me is like, okay, because a few hundred is like enough to make you angry. Yeah, fire more at the Houthis.
I actually, right? I think history actually says a little bit worse than that. That if it is 4 or 5, people tend to get more upset. There's the way that Americans handle their own dead, and the way they handle soldiers dying is very different. The first 5 or 6 for a war that isn't supposed to be happening, these are the things that do damage to Clinton on UN missions when he used to send in the military along with others for peacekeeping, or what happened in Haiti. The handful of soldier deaths was enough to completely dismantle entire efforts.
I think it's honestly, I think it's just a movie logic that infects how most people talk about this stuff. One person, you think about the personal life of the individuals affected. Between 10 and a few dozen people, or even like 50 to under 100, you're dealing with, okay, this sounds like what we expect to, when we imagine war, we think of that number of deaths. Upwards of that, you think of disaster. You think of something that indicates weakness and vulnerability on the part of one of the power that's affected. I'm just spitballing here, but like that's what I suspect is kind of going on. And given bluntly
it's just a very strange, it's one of those things that's like, it means, so it's a direct change from Biden's CENTCOM. So under Biden and under previous presidents, whatever the standard operating procedure was, it included just sharing casualties in general. Yes. That includes injuries, by the way. Just like how many here, how many blah, blah, all of that stuff. And you get really granular, weird data from them. To have that stop is actually like, there's an affirmative choice to not share all of that info or to pick off and only pick certain parts of it that can be shared. And it's makes me wonder why, because it's not a thing that is just done like, yeah, we don't share death numbers anymore because we do elsewhere. Like we found out about the 4 soldiers who died in that weird, crash of a helicopter, but we're not hearing anything out of Yemen. There's something going on more.
Could a part of it be preemptive, where we have a general breakdown of, at the upper levels, we can see the breakdown of the chain of command, but we have a general breakdown of record keeping, of sort of bureaucratic competence, because we have people being like fired left, right, and center without any question as to what their jobs actually are. And is there generally just a culture of preemptively accustoming people to not getting precise numbers, that there's not a shock when they suddenly can't? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to know. Again, we're getting death and casualty numbers in a lot of other places for a lot of other things, so it's specific.
There was an update apparently. I thought I heard mention.
Are the movie tariffs back on?
Are the movie tariffs back on? It's been 1 day.
It's been.
Oh, you're asking me.
I'm asking you. Like, is that what you heard? I don't know. We live in that time, my friend.
No, not yet.
We are.
That's Wednesday's show. No, I was going to say, I thought there was some movement on the, unless I'm really behind, the $1 trillion Pentagon ask. I think that updated 3 days ago. There were a bunch of articles on it all of a sudden. Trump plans record $1.1 trillion national security budget. This is from 4 days ago. This has been talked about for a while.
But
that's
Send
for
it over.
2026. I'm trying to find one that's not paywalled. And that's from this year. Air and Space. I don't know if Air and Space Forces magazine is reputable. Newsweek.
There's even more. Wait, there's more Signal Gate shit. Are you
What?
kidding me? I'm just.
Of course there is. Signal Gate just got away. Where's White House Secret? This is the same stuff we were just covering, I think. Modified Signal app. Yeah, this is the same shit. Although, check this out. This
Are you looking at the Wall Street Journal one?
Looking at the Washington Post.
All right.
Before Signal Gate talks to Israel angered Trump. Yeah.
No, this one I think is what might be just a thing. Hegseth used multiple Signal chats for official Pentagon business as of today from the Wall Street Journal.
But that's the implication of the other thing we saw, no? Because
this one they have the chats, I think.
Okay.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth used Signal more extensively for official Pentagon business than previously disclosed. So again, keeping in mind what we just read, everyone who had access or has access to telemessages backend has access to everything we're about to hear and already knew about it, and it's already been spreading. In one case, he told aides on the encrypted app to inform foreign governments about an unfolding military operation. Jesus Christ. He also used the non-governmental message service to discuss media appearances, foreign travel, his schedule, other unclassified but sensitive information. His travel schedule is fairly classified, actually. I'm pretty sure Secretary of Defense's travel schedule is actually considered...
I'm pretty sure everything about him's classified. He's the Secretary of Defense. That's who you target if you're trying to get intelligence on a hostile nation. Right? Like, that's who you want information from.
Some of what the fuck? Some of Hegseth's messages were posted by his military aide, Marine Colonel Ricky Burria, who was given access to the secretary's personal phone, the people said. It was Burria who posted information in March about an imminent U.S. attack on Houthi militants. Jesus fucking Christ. It wasn't even Hegseth posting it.
It's just some guy.
It was his military aide, who also should know better. Jesus Christ.
whose name we just learned today. Like,
these people are unfucking real. Yeah, non-governmental apps, including Signal. But, again, the directive doesn't include TM Signal, which is actually a different app than Signal. Just to be very specific about this, TM Signal is Telemessages Signal, which is not the app approved by the government. Again, making me think this is not actually for or approved by the government, but instead by the Trump organization. This is like Mussolini's wet dream of fascism and corporatism and government together. It's wild.
The phrasing of the headline suggests that there's an additional one besides those two. So not just Signal, not just IDF copy of Signal. Is there another one mentioned here? Because they seem to suggest, like,
most people still think or are reporting on that it's Signal that everyone's using, because it seems like a weird nuance. But we have seen in the screenshots that it's not Signal, it's TM Signal, which is Telemessage's version of Signal, which is its own thing. And it's all of them. These are we can see from Mike Waltz's screenshot that we got of his phone that's what he's using. That he doesn't have two Signal accounts or two separate things. He's using TM Signal as his Signal. And apparently that's what, again, 404 reported, that's what they saw across the board. This is fucking nuts, man. Buria's role in posting information on his behalf is wild. I don't even... What do you do, dude? What do we do? Like, what is the thing? Because this feels like there is the reality of where we're at. The rest of the world is standing up to whatever the fuck this stupid nightmare is that we get to be stuck inside of for forever.
Well, that's because the rest of the world, which includes me, has the luxury of not being having their entire executive branch compromised by undisclosed business interests. Like, that's kind of that's the thing here, is like, one of the reasons why all of this seems insane, besides the obvious point, because it is because the actual, like, chain of relations that is dictating the decisions that are being made is completely obscure. It's not even just a matter of, like, the insane ego of someone in a position of absolute power who's out on a quest of vengeance now. It's like, we don't know what, like, when we talk about Trump's administration being unmoored from reality, like, clearly it's not on some level. We just don't know what reality it's actually moored to, except in abstractions, because all of this stuff is off the record, and the history of what they actually do is gone, and they have no capacity and no competence to actually keep track of what their own minions are doing. Like, even internally, there's probably tremendous amounts of compromise. So, like, it's broken beyond analysis. It's like there's actually no consistent reason here.
No, it's stupidity across the board in a really weird and particular form of stupidity. Like, again, it's very particular, and it's a unique strain. It's a couple of articles just to sort of pop through really quick of how, just because I don't want to go into them, but the stupidity of what's happening. These are all live updates. These are all things happening that, like, aren't interesting themselves. But again, we want to talk about stupidity. The scientist who touted hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID is named to pandemic prevention role in the CDC.
You mean that stuff that killed 2 people because Trump suggested people use it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just FYI, chat, in case anyone is confused about this, the answer is no. Aquarium cleaner does not protect you from COVID. It will just kill you. Don't take it. Like, I killed a husband and wife who, like, just consumed it to clear out their system. It's like,
it's just stupid. But now he's in the CDC. Now he's at the CDC. So that's insane. The stupidity around Doge, for example, because we now know that absolutely Doge not only didn't save any money, but cost us a fortune, and also just stole all of the data from the U.S. government and transported it elsewhere.
Which, by the way, will not just represent a massive security disadvantage for the United States into basically perpetuity. You will also be paying the price of all that inefficiency they've created by just destroying institutional knowledge for decades. You will not get that back because it takes decades, a century even really, to produce it.
And again, Elon Musk is stupid. He's not a good business person. He's an excellent hype man and liar and con man. That's why he and Trump get along so well. He's never been an engineer. He's never designed anything you could possibly
Is he even an excellent? Is he even really? Like when you think of it.
Yeah, no. Tesla, he figured out how to lie and scam a whole bunch of fucking people. Absolutely, he's a good con man. You don't get to be the richest person in the world to do that.
He's a good con man, but I have to wonder, like, how much of that is the money actually playing the role and not any particular skill set on his part?
Oh yeah, I mean Peter Thiel and all these fuckers are propped up by cash more than intelligence by a wide
Peter
margin.
Thiel's got like that Miscavige energy. I don't get that from Musk.
Just before the election last fall, Musk predicted he could cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. By early January, a couple of weeks before President Trump returned to the White House and appointed Musk head of newly created not quite department dubbed DOGE, he was calling $2 trillion a best case outcome. We have a good shot at getting $1 trillion. In late March, he said DOGE would deliver $1 trillion in deficit reduction by the end of May. By April 10th, that was down to $150 billion in savings. Draw a trend line. Basically, the joke is that by December, we'll be losing a ton of money on them. It's not meant to be a serious forecast, but with Musk's time as a special government employee
Mucks.
due to...
Let's call him Muck from now on.
Muck. It works for me.
Mucks.
And the Partnership for Public Service, estimating that the cost in lost productivity, rehiring of firing workers, and other side effects of his chaotic approach will top $135 billion this year. And that is only that part. Again, there is a reality that what they've done may completely crush and cripple Social Security and lead to a downfall of the entire global economy. So that's the thing. They conclude the direct annual savings from DOGE's efforts will be less than $150 billion, which amounts to 2% of federal spending. With spending up 10% since Trump took office relative to the same period, the one beautiful bill addressing taxes and current spending currently working its way through Congress, almost certain to increase the deficit, and a tariff-induced tax revenue reducing recession, perhaps on the horizon, it's not impossible to say the deficit will rise by $2 trillion. Its minimal impact on spending notwithstanding, DOGE has had a huge impact in Washington, with its actions disrupting federal government in ways that few would have imagined possible before it set to work. What then have they really been trying to do? There are many, many theories. In March, Alex Nowrasteh, I feel like I have to say it with a Bostonian accent, Alex Nowrasteh and Ryan Bourne of the Libertarian Cato Institute tried to organize them into 6 theoretical models for understanding DOGE's actions to date. 1. DOGE is seeking to purge progressive influence within federal government. 2. DOGE is a scaled-up public version of Musk's style of corporate restructuring applied to federal government. That's a nightmare. DOGE is the first step of public relations campaign to build popular support for spending cuts. DOGE is an essential component of a Trump administration legal challenge to expand the president's power of impoundment. DOGE provides political cover for Congress to be even more fiscally irresponsible, and DOGE is about self-interest and cronyism. Nowrasteh and Bourne offered their own evaluations of how well these models were supported by the facts on the ground. I recommend their essay. But 6 weeks have passed. Here's my updated run-through plus an addition. And he runs through and he goes through. But it's, again...
I haven't heard that term before. What does that mean, impoundment?
Oh, impoundment. This is a fun one. We should actually do this. 1 second. We should do this. This is like... You know, I like my political wonky stuff. It's a really funny term. So... 1 second, I'm trying to find a good article on it because it's not the easiest thing. Short version is that when Congress passes bills that say we're going to spend $100 million on grass and we're going to put grass everywhere, the president sort of has the rule that he's got to do the thing. He's got to execute the laws legally created. The legislative branch creates laws, the executive branch executes them. But for a very long time in America's history, the president just sort of stopped doing that. Like early on. We're talking about like founding of the country level shit where they were like, I'm not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. We're going to delay spending that money. We're just not going to put grass everywhere, which is like fucked up because it basically ruins Congress's power because Congress passes laws. And if you're not going to be executed, that puts the president in kind of a king
Congress
spot.
Powerless. Yeah.
And it makes him a king. Yeah. So impoundment, that's what it means. The money is impounded. You could like think of it as like the president saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're impounding the money, more or less. And so impoundment is kind of that term. That thing, though, got fucked up during Nixon because everything got fucked up during Nixon ultimately because he basically said huge amounts of money aren't going to be spent. We're just not going to do a ton of this stuff. Local governments, federal agencies across the board, he'd like a huge amount, like I want to say like a large percent, like 50-60% of all spending, like he complete dickhead. Then the Impoundment Control Act of 1974 was passed by Congress. It said, fuck you, basically. You've got to do it, and you're getting stuff out there. And this is why, like, the Supreme Court's really important, because if the Supreme Court overthrows this, and they might as a thing, like, I think there's actually 2 cases that are on their way or already in the works, it would basically make our president a king, which is bad. It would be bad. That would be bad. I'm trying to find the articles on impoundment on the cases right now.
Found the actual act.
Yeah. Because the Supreme Court like fucked with a lot of things. All right. So it like that's the background. So we're gonna now do this thing. Why aren't you? Oh, it's because what the fuck? One sec. Up. There. That. I don't know why it popped into a new fucking window. Weird. All right, Sunday. Let me reshare it with you so that way you can see it at least. And then let me see if I can fix this audio thing while we're doing this.
By the way, you're showing your email address on the screen.
Oh, that's fine. It's all public anyway. The world's known it for a very long time. If you send stuff to me, it goes right to trash. Have fun with that. One sec, let me see if I can switch this around. It's going to be... Yeah, all right. Turn device. I'm going to do speakers for this. Where the fuck are you? That'll be okay. All right. To read. Mr. President, how do you respond to criticism that your impoundment of funds abrogates power or authority to the Constitution gave to Congress? A reporter asked then-President Richard Nixon at a 1973 press conference. The same way that Jefferson did it and Jackson did it and Truman did, the president responded. The constitutional right for the President of the United States to impound funds, and that is, to not spend money when the spending of money would mean either increasing prices or increasing taxes for people, that right is absolutely clear. Oh, fuck you, Washington Examiner. I should have known. God damn it. This fucking article isn't showing up. That's fine. God damn it. 2 seconds. Way back? Maybe way back has something for me. I know, it's very, very exciting airtime. Relax. Please say it works. Boop, 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 boop. It did. Good. Fuck you, Washington Examiner. All right. Nixon, just months after winning re-election in a historic landslide, was railing against what he viewed as irresponsible spending from Democratic-controlled Congress by using his executive powers. to prevent congressionally appropriated funds from being dispersed, a decision that sparked myriad lawsuits, partisan infighting, and media outcry. Fast forward half a century, President Donald Trump has found himself in a similar situation. After winning a commanding victory on election night, Trump resolved to freeze or cut billions of dollars in government spending, much of which had already been approved by Congress. This was part of an effort Trump believes will reduce the nation's deficit and improve government efficiency. Like Nixon, he has been met with an array of legal challenges, hostile press, and congressional skeptics. These people are in the fucking tank for Trump. It's wild. Supreme Court's ruling, however, was not on the 1974 Impound Control Act, which constrains the president's ability to impose spending freezes. Instead, it considered the power of low-level federal judges to issue injunctions suspending federal policy across the nation. With this avenue exhausted, the Trump administration may have its eyes on overturning the Impoundment Control Act. If the president is victorious, he would gain an effective line-item veto over every piece of spending approved by Congress, and, what's more, it can't be overridden. Yay! Imagine a Democratic Congress approved funding for Planned Parenthood in its budget. A Republican president could order the executive branch to withhold those funds specifically, while continuing to spend funds related to infrastructure or education. A Democratic president, conversely, could do the same, with border security funding or another conservative priority. A ruling striking down the Impoundment Control Act would remove one more institutional check on an aggressive president. I should add that the framers envisioned that the primary check on an aggressive president would be Congress that safeguarded its own institutional prerogatives. At this point, however, the majority in both chambers of Congress seems more loyal to its party than its institutions, so that sort of political check does not work very effectively. There you go.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's worth noting as well, like, it's not just a matter of arresting programs by these institutions or whatever that these funds are allocated for. A lot of these organizations actually depend on this funding. They will increase their personnel. They will devote resources based on the expectation of this funding, and it being withheld can actually ruin them to the point where, let's say you wait till another administration comes in. It's like, that doesn't necessarily mean they can just reverse it and fix it. Just keep the wheels turning. You can break the wheels that way. So yeah.
But if we want some good news, just because it's, oh, come on. I know fuck you. If you remember a few months ago, Janet Mills was in that meeting with Trump, big dinner, and she said, I'll see you in court. And he goes, you will, you lose. Blah, 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 we're going to take all your money. Because her constitution in Maine says that trans people have a right to do things and be treated as people. Wild idea, I know, but stick with me here. And so Trump said, if you allow trans people to compete in sports of the opposite gender, we're going to take all your funding away. Nope, apparently not. So all the funding has been fully restored. She beat him in federal court. Trump administration backed down after a federal court intervened in its attempt to cut off funding for Maine school meal programs, punishment for the state's refusal to discriminate against transgender people by barring trans girls from participating in girls' sports. So let's just take a second to think about that. Trans people, trans girls competing in girls' sports. So they go, hey, we're going to starve kids. That's what the fuck?
Yep.
That's the response. It's like, yeah, well, you won't want to have them compete when your kids are starving. And that's
the best part about it too is that, like,
what the fuck?
Yeah. The best part about it too is, like, this is a decidedly nonpartisan punitive action that Republican parents with their kids, including a lot of poor Republicans that actually make up the bulk of them, will suddenly feel. And it's like, God bless this administration for being fascist and being so bad at it. Just being so useless that everything they do just falls on their face. It's great. I mean, it'd be great if it didn't exist, but it's great that it's happening that way at least.
Well, and Steph's, I'm aware they're trans men. You'll notice no one cares about them on the conservative side. It's one of those really fun things because it's ultimately, again, at the base.
See, here's the
it's
thing.
about how uncomfortable people are with their own sexuality is the core of this.
That's a part of it, but I disagree. I think
That's
the
a
main
big
part of it.
One sec.
No, it's
Moth super chatted $5. Seems like a
Not playing for
procedural
some
error to
reason.
have
yeah,
the
I can't hear
executive
that
branch
either.
police
Moth, thank you
itself.
for the $5. Seems like a procedural
Founders
error
should have
to
had
the
someone with
executive branch
programming
police itself.
socks give it a once
Founders should
over.
have had someone with programming socks give it a once over.
No idea why it's not playing.
I don't think it's a. It's not even showing up in the bar either.
I know. Very
Weird.
annoying.
What did you do, Brooks?
I didn't do anything for this.
What did
one.
you fucking do? What button did you push? I don't think this is even a matter of discomfort. I think it's just raging sexism, because fundamentally what it boils down to is, trans women are characterized as perverted men, and then they are
Yes.
targeted on those grounds. Trans men are victimized women who have no agency and no control over what they do, and
Because
so,
women don't have agency, and so therefore
Yeah.
trans men don't have agency. Because women,
exactly,
they
yeah.
all they want.
And so it's
is,
actually it's the opposite. It's they're super comfortable with trans men because they're weak and diminutive, because they don't view them as men.
and again, we're saying this from their perspective, not from ours.
Bro, just to be clear, I'm saying this from Brooks's perspective only. Okay, I of course would never.
You motherfucker. It is. It's a sexist paternalism at the base of it. It's, oh no, what might happen to the, to girls in the bathroom? And it's like, what?
You see it among Blair White and Brianna Wu types as well. They'll just completely eliminate the existence of trans men in the equation for the exact same reason, because they consider victimhood and weakness to be essential parts of femaleness.
They do.
And the reverse. So it's like,
and again,
okay.
it's why often TERFs are not feminists at all.
Yeah,
What they are is a womanists mostly.
Yeah.
They're not feminists. They have no interest in like a generalized equality. Shulamith Firestone, I mean, forever will be the closest I think we get to like a real feminist, where for her, until we could figure out how to grow people in jars outside of the human body, until then women can't possibly be equal.
Yeah.
And I agree with that statement. Like that's for her, like where this comes from. It's not an innate ability of a woman to be more sensitive or to be more caring or any of that garbage.
No, exactly. It's exactly why, for example, when Tay Colma found out that his cab driver was a completely different person, it didn't occur to him, and he got assassinated as a result, because he didn't take a woman seriously in season 2 of Andor.
Yep. It's 100% season 2 of Andor. You motherfucker.
By the way, it was asked, because people apparently cannot read chat, when we were doing the Modern Cult of the Factors Cause by Bruno Latour. We were doing
we're going to do it tonight in the evening, because it's an evening thing.
So when when at evening o'clock, we will be covering Andor tonight.
It would be 7 or 8.
7 or 8. Let's say 8. 8?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do 8. Sounds good. We're at the 2 hour mark. What do we want to keep going?
I want to keep talking about continuing into this, like the flurry of stupidity that Trump's doing.
All right, that doesn't narrow it down though.
It's a stunning amount of outright open corruption that is happening as we talk about these things, and again, the way that he's setting up and what he's doing. Mother Jones has a fantastic piece that hit today that I think is worth just going over lightly, because the outright corruption that has been core to everything here is something that is worth reminding ourselves about, because we almost have forgotten that Trump pretends to be a real estate mogul, a failure at it for sure, but he pretends to be one. But his businesses are that, his kids are that. And in the same way that, like, you know, they did deals with China while he was president that also yielded them huge swaths of rewards, and you know, Ivanka's husband made a fuck ton of billions of dollars of investments from the Saudis and from the SoftBank fund. But ultimately, that probably had no impact towards various ways that suddenly Saudi Arabia was normalized in relations with other countries. Like, these insane things it's worth taking note. Last Thursday, Trump Organization struck a deal to build $5.5 billion Trump International Golf Club in Qatar. Yeah. To develop the project, the Trump Organization is partnering with Dar Global, a Saudi Arabian company, and Qatari DR, a company owned by the Qatari government.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird. Just that specifically is very weird.
Why?
It's Qatar.
Yeah?
Okay, keep going.
Qatar is like a vassal state for kind of, again, it's more complicated than that.
It's a vassal state that is kind of infamously publicly hostile to everything America has been doing and continues to do.
Not really. No, and yes. Middle East, it's complicated. I'll say it's complicated. But they're very in love with Saudis, and Saudis are very in love with Trump, and Trump's very in love with $5.5 billion.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets fun. The stated purpose is to coordinate the country's real estate development priorities. Now, Eric Trump, who runs the Trump Organization, wink, wink, said that the deal was only with the Saudi company and not Qatar DR. We have zero relationship with them, he said in a statement. That is false. We're incredibly proud to expand the Trump brand into Qatar through this exceptional collaboration with Qatar DR and Dar Global. You can't do building things in Qatar without that. In Dubai, for example, there are a lot of places and people who build things. They're two companies. They're two companies, and they're subsidiaries of that. And those companies both happen to be owned by relatives of, like, they're all part of that royal family. This is how...
That's so interesting, because like my and it's admittedly wanting, but my understanding of Qatar's relationship with the United States that way was largely because I think, and you can correct me on this, I think Qatar is like one of, if not the largest university funders.
They're up there. They have an exceptionally large amount of money. They have more money than God. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's. Oh, okay. It's interesting. Okay,
isn't it? I think it's interesting.
It's very interesting. Yes, it's.
I find it fascinating personally.
Weird.
Yes. Did you have another thing, or is it cool if I keep busting through, because this is fascinating?
No, keep busting through. Sorry, I'm reading a bunch of stuff because my impression was completely.
Well, here's the thing
accurate,
to remember.
But also wrong.
The thing to remember always is that the number one color is green. That's what wins over all other things. It's what allowed or pushed for Israel to have the relations they were set to have or about to have with our friends in Saudi Arabia. It's the reason across the board for all of this.
Yeah, I am loading. Sorry there. No, it's just I hadn't. No, it's just weird.
At the announced deal, the president's son appeared alongside Abdullah, whatever the fuck. One sec. It is doing the thing again where it's adjusting my audio because God hates me, I think. Amazing. Very frustrating. Why is that happening? Whatever. Keep an eye out for a second. To read. A Qatari government official, a Qatari DR chairman. See, it's adjusting the audio again. What the fuck? Can you read while I do this for a second?
Sure. At the announcement of the deal, the president's son appeared alongside Abdullah bin Hamad bin Abdullah Al Attiyah, a Qatari government official and the Qatari DR chairman. As the deal was signed, he posed in front of a backdrop featuring the logos of the Trump Organization, Dar Global, and Qatari DR. Separately, the Trump Organization announced it was also partnering with Dar Global to build a new Trump International Hotel and Tower in Dubai. While Dar Global is not formally owned by the Saudi government, it, quote, has close ties to the Saudi government, end quote. The tower, slated to be completed in 2031, will feature the highest rooftop infinity pool in the world. giving some architect the opportunity to do the funniest thing imaginable. I have a vague recollection of memories of Qatar hosting Iran for like weapons demonstrations, and of Trump referring to the Qatari government as pro-terrorist. That's why I'm so perplexed. Mostly because I wasn't paying attention, apparently. Let's see. It will also be home to a private club called The Trump, which brings together wellness, business, and the timeless atmosphere of a classic private club. Last week, another...
Sorry, I just really like and get a kick out of how insane that is. That's fucking insane.
Yeah. Last week, another company owned by the Trump family, the crypto firm World Liberty Financial, announced it would be involved in a transaction involving a foreign government. Zach Witkoff, the co-founder of WLF, announced that MGX, a venture firm owned by the government of Abu Dhabi, would make a $2 billion investment in the crypto exchange Binance using WLF's embryonic stablecoin USD1. Is that correct, USD1? Stablecoins are crypto assets pegged to traditional currency in an effort to avoid the volatility of other tokens. There's no reason for MGX to finance the transaction with the little-used USD1.
Yeah, it's at USD I.
Okay, so I can really read
but
this.
it's fine. It's when we say little used, it's extremely little used. It's so, absolutely
no reason for it to use USDI rather than Cash or more established stablecoin, other than the desire by MGX and Binance to ingratiate themselves with the Trump family. MGX is chaired by Sheikh Tanoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who met with President Trump at the White House in March. Binance has been subject to oversight by the federal government after admitting in 2023 to violating money laundering laws. The flurry of deals comes just days after Trump is scheduled to travel to the region. In a trip scheduled for May 13th to 16th, Trump will visit Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. The exact financial arrangements, including the direct financial benefit to President Trump, remain opaque, but discussions of trade, military assistance, and other issues are now inextricably entwined with Trump's private real estate investments. Trump is openly leveraging his position as president to enhance his personal finances. This is not normal. Previous Republican and Democratic presidents, including Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush, sought to eliminate even the appearance of conflicts. Biden and Obama divested of all assets except for cash and diversified mutual funds. Bush places assets into a qualified blind trust, which means investment decisions were made without his knowledge or input. They did not enter into new business ventures while in the White House, much less a new venture directly with foreign governments. Trump has imposed, imagine not meeting the high standards of George W. Bush. Trump has imposed high tariffs on nearly every country, including 145% on China, as part of a strategy to force businesses to invest domestically. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your product here, Trump said on Meet the Press. It's very easy. It's very simple. Trump also insisted that American consumers should be willing to pay more for some items or forgo purchases completely. I read ahead. I shouldn't have done that. To support this effort, I'm just saying American children don't need to have $30. They can have 3, Trump said. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5. But Trump's own company, the Trump Organization, is not investing in projects in the United States. Since his inauguration, the Trump Organization has announced new developments in the UAE, Qatar, India. I didn't know about that. And Vietnam. I definitely didn't know about that, but none of the United States. That is bizarre.
It's fucking
What's he doing in Vietnam? Can we look at that?
Yeah, let's do it. I also want to know about India and the UAE.
I looked down for 1 second. I had a stroke. I was like, what? Okay. The Trump Organization and Hung Yen Hospitality announced strategic collaboration. The venture will focus on developing 5-star hotels, championship-style golf courses, and luxurious residential estates and unparalleled amenities in Vietnam.
Dude.
That's embarrassing.
Dude.
That's just like cartoon. This is cartoonish.
This is what we're doing. This is our country.
It's a heist. It's a fucking heist.
It's an extreme heist. I don't even know how else to...
It's the biggest heist. It is. That South Park episode. It is the biggest heist in global history.
It's hard for me to even It's such an extraordinary level of shit. Fix the mic thing. It's the president of a country is going around and getting governments and government associated development groups to give him billions of dollars to build terrible places that don't end up making a profit. There's great videos and documentaries about how awful the Trump properties are to manage globally and how they don't make anyone cash. But again, he's pocketing.
It's just a big money laundering scheme.
He's just pocketing all of it.
Yeah.
India's first Trump-banded commercial and office development in Pune.
Thank you for saying it that way.
I don't think I could say it another way if I tried.
Well, maybe it's pronounced puny. Did you think about that?
I think I want to always call it Pune.
It's actually pronounced Puna.
I don't know about that.
I literally just looked it up. Puna.
I'm pretty sure it's called Pune.
It's called Puna.
India has embraced the Trump brand with remarkable enthusiasm. After our successful collaboration on several iconic residential projects, we are proud to launch our first commercial development in India. Now, who's doing it? Tribeca Developers, India's leading trophy property developer in Kundan Spaces. Let's find out who they are. Real estate developer in Delhi. Let's find out.
Unrelated in the live chat. You can look at that later.
Yep. I love the AI photo of him.
I love how it just looks like Indian JD Vance.
It does.
It does.
It's so terribly photoshopped and AI added. That's fucking crazy.
That's just a photo of a guy and you're just being horrendously racist. Indian people aren't real, apparently. They're all AI generated. Unbelievable. I am frankly appalled. Scroll down. There's probably a name of who that is.
Kalpesh Mehta, the man behind Trump Towers in India, sees early bet on luxury real estate payoff. I heard it this time.
Super chatted $4.99. It's not like global elites are working together to destroy America because our leftward turn and cultural power were a threat to their power.
And the more you talk, the less they can hear too. I'm not going to have both of us be able to hear it. So
I thought it was done. Okay.
It's one of us right now because of the weird nightmare software. I've got to fix that. It's a thing. If you want to disconnect and reconnect, I could go in another room and we could set it up so it probably works, but it would take me about 10 minutes. We'll do it before Latour tonight. Don't worry.
Don't test me.
Coming from a family of architects, Mehta first enrolled at Mumbai's L.S. Raheja School of Architecture, but left the course midway. He decided to pursue higher education in the U.S., earning an undergraduate degree at Texas Austin before joining the Wharton School. It was there he met Donald Trump Jr. Meritocracy! 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 And you met, proof of non-meritocracy. You met the stupid one. And they're both dumb, but there's the stupid one.
It was there he met Donald Trump Jr., who would later become a friend and business partner. Trump Jr. is the eldest son of the businessman and current U.S. President Donald J. Trump. But before he became a real estate developer, he honed his skills as a private equity investor with the Carlyle Group's real estate funds and then with Lehman Brothers.
Oh my God. He's one of the worst people alive. Gotcha. I'm good.
Quote, "It was my learnings as a private equity investor that led me to spot the opportunity in luxury real estate in India," Mehta said.
Amazing. That's like,
he's like their own personal Sherlock Holmes.
It's yeah. By the way, I have an idea. I think luxury real estate could do well in a country. What?
I think, hey, hear me out.
No.
I think getting rich people to invest in property is a way to make money.
No.
Get out. There's like, this is what the Fountainhead was about, by the way. He went unrecognized.
Meta's focus on luxury real estate was not just about brand appeal. It's also about understanding the real estate cycle. Unlike the mid-market segment, where demand fluctuates with economic conditions, he saw the ultra-luxury space as an undersupplied, recession-resistant market. Until the guillotines show up. So that's that. That's corruption.
In the Brooks, they don't use guillotines.
Hey.
They don't use guillotines. They don't use guillotines.
They serve you street food. Dubai, Dar Global, London-listed real estate developer, and the Trump Organization have launched the launch of Trump International Hotel and Tower. Dubai reaffirming their confidence. Blah, blah, blah. I want to know about this. Where is this? Trump International Hotel and Tower, Dubai. Is it in Dubai City? It is.
Guillotines are complicated, finely crafted instruments that not every culture just uses. They're super, super specific.
They're announcing these deals that have been in the works since he was voted in. These deals are all happening this last week, dude. That's the 29th. When's this press release? Oh yeah, this one was last year. So this one, the India one, and the new one in Qatar are all in the last week. Fuck me.
Do you It's all happening very fast, isn't it? Do you think he's anticipating? That's just stupid speculation.
Oh wait. It's just never going to happen. Fair enough. Trump set to expand. Yeah, it's a new 80-story skyscraper. It's Dubai City, the heart of UAE. 1,150 feet with a swimming pool at the top. Prices for 2-bed apartments start at $1 million. Website for the property offers free 10-year golden visas. Tinfoil
hat?
Yeah.
Tinfoil hat? Trump's going to retire midway through due to health issues or something like that. And J.D. Vance is going to come in and be the relatively hyper-competent neo-reactionary president that everybody wants at this point.
This is
It's not folding if Brooks wasn't Fed posting. He wasn't Fed posting.
No, I was just saying that guillotines are lovely instruments that you
What's
can
the
use
Indian word for Fed posting? Because we're not racist here.
I'm just saying. Posting. There we go.
Oh wait, no, Trump... that means Fed as in feed, past tense of feeding.
Yeah.
Federal.
It's mukbang posting.
Oh, sorry, that was so stupid. Okay, keep going.
I mean, here's the thing. These also probably won't happen. It's one of the things that sort of has been a regular thing for Trump-branded properties is they get announced, a ton of money floods into them or through them or, is you could say, put in a laundry-type machine and then given elsewhere. And then it just never happens because real estate projects fail all the time. And that is a completely acceptable way to basically launder money to corrupt people and happens all the fucking time. Dubai is like the symbol of it as a place. The amount of money that is supposed to have gone into insane projects that never went anywhere is massive.
Speaking of money that goes into insane projects that never went anywhere, we funded the first half of Andor Season 1. Thank you, chat. As you were.
Wait, we did?
We did. We just crossed the threshold with the last one.
There's too much good stuff to watch. I'd rather watch repeats of moderate stuff than watching Andor.
Andor is...
I was going to rewatch Justified.
Andor is exceptional. I will watch Justified. Dude. We'll discuss that if you watch Andor.
You won't watch Justified.
I will watch Justified. What even is
7 seasons.
That's okay. I watched I watched 6 seasons of Lost. It can't be that bad.
Justified is excellent. Justified's excellent.
How about
dude,
this? I'll watch 2 seasons of Justified for every 1 season of Andor you watch. Which gets me to about 4 seasons, which is pretty good.
No.
3?
No. You sent this. It is worth a note, and it's good news. I like good news.
I thought you would.
Federal District Court orders North Carolina to certify state Supreme Court election for Democrat Allison Riggs, rejecting Republicans' attempt to overturn election and throw out thousands of votes. If you didn't know, Republicans don't care about elections, and they don't care about people or democracy. They care about power and destroying everyone else because they are a death cult of evil and useless and bad people across the board.
Oh, that's
bad
giving them
people.
too much credit. They're just con artists at this point. They're literally just con artists. There's not like a unified attitude.
This case
people's
concerns
behavior.
whether the federal constitution permits a state to alter the rules of an election after the fact and apply those changes retroactively to only a select group of voters. That's what they were trying to do.
Yep.
Which is insane. Again, the election happened, so they passed a rule to stop certain votes and then retroactively applied it, but only to people who voted for the Democrat. And by the way, that's the most fair election that fucking state has probably seen, because the South sucks. Sucks. A lot of good parts of it. Shitty governments left over from an age where we should not have allowed people to continue existing who were in certain positions. Instead, we gave them all land.
Great barbecue joints, though.
Southern barbecue's okay. I am more of a sort of, Texas, Oklahoma preferred, like that area. It's different types. Again, it's a sauce thing.
I like my ribs with sauce in them. I understand.
That's not that's
thing from Texas, but like,
I mean, sauce is pretty normal. It's the type of sauce.
I thought the whole Texas barbecue thing was they do dry rubs on their ribs.
They can.
I thought that was like all they did.
No.
Look, I don't know if you know this. I've never been there. I'm just basing this off of the authentic Texas place.
No, look, I said I have family from West Virginia and Virginia. My family's mostly Southern. Food is astonishing.
Mr. Fluffy Wolf super chatted $5. The Chad Fed posting versus the Virgin Andor posting.
I like that. I'll take that.
Moderators subject that one to a fate beyond mortal comprehension.
I think we're going to actually just like that. Oh, I can't pin it, sadly. But we will like it, and we will add a little heart. Barbecue varies in a lot of places. Southern barbecue tends to be, in my experience, plays a little bit more with sauces, a little bit more of the, I would say, the vinegar side of things, runnier side of things. Thicker sauces tend to be towards the Texas side. But again, I'm kind of a weird purist, but I'll eat all of that shit. The South as a whole is filled with, and this is weird to say after I just say the South sucks, some of my favorite people. There's the Southern hospitality thing is real if you're white. I mean, it just being accurate.
It's consistent with your opinions on Indian people being AI generated, so I'm following you so far. Keep going.
That Indian guy was AI generated. But the politeness, and it carries across. I may joke, it applies to everyone if you're white, but the reality is, like, you'll find it kind of across the board is great. There's a warmness and kindness I think I've experienced by time living in the South, being in the South, having family there, having friends there, that exists in a really different way amongst, I would say, the poor, for sure. But it's one of the most repressive, weird places in the country. And I say that like I'm not a big fan of the East Coast because of generally how they sort of behave and treat stuff. Like the joke of David Cross, he's like he was born in Atlanta and then moved to outside of Boston. He's like out of the frying pan and into the other frying pan. Because Massachusetts has, we'll just say, some issues with the race as well, but it's different, and it's a different setup. But Southern sort of realities is so depressing. The way that people are raised, the way that people treat each other at that level, the way that they treat their poor and the working class is unfucking real. And it is some of the more stunning places you'll ever go. If you haven't driven through West Virginia, again, not for everyone. It's just this ain't for everyone. I Saturday Live this last weekend did a Bill and Ted's Takeoff, where they had like Harriet Tubman and God damn it, my brain is dying. God,
male or female?
Oh no, Dred Scott, not Dred Scott. No. God damn it, Douglas. What's his name? Fucking help me. Link it. The fucking someone help me. Dear
what does he
Christ.
do? Who?
He's a major black activist, ex-slave. God damn it. Frederick Douglass. Thank you.
Frederick Douglass.
So it's Bill and Ted's. It's the joke. They bring them all back. It's like Caesar's there and everyone's there, and it's Frederick Douglass and.
Man, he looks exactly like Karl Marx. Look at him. It's the exact same. It's the same hair and beard. It's the same pose.
Gave some amazing speeches too. But then they're all like, "All right, everyone, thanks for helping us get through our thing. We're going to take you back now." And they're like, "No, we're good. What the fun? We're not going back. What the fuck?" It's kind of that feeling of like, West Virginia, if you can drive through, and I don't recommend it for everyone. And it's sad because it's
Can we just pop this on the screen for a quick second? I've never seen a photo of this guy before. This has to be...
You've never seen...
This has to be the coolest looking man on Wikipedia. It's like...
Oh, that's touched up. Fuck that. We're going to go to the good stuff. Let's see.
I'm sure it's all touched up, but...
That's Frederick Douglass.
That one's flipped horizontally.
West Virginia is a stunningly beautiful place to drive through and to see, and it's one of those things like you understand kind of why people grow attached to the land there, why people think of it the way they do, and then you run into the people, and we'll just say you go up the wrong holler and it's a bad day. So don't wander off the paths, don't wander off the highways. But it is a really beautiful area, and the people are generally kind, deeply uneducated, left behind by the rest of the world in a really extraordinary way. But it's beautiful up there. It is beautiful up there, and it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame.
Somebody look up Karl Marx was a black man image. What?
We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. That's not our jam today. That's not my jam today. That's for sure. Yeah, the South is sad, man. The South is super sad. And it's kind of like a lost cause weird thing. I don't like saying that because I like believing in the best possible forever, but it's a group I worked with called No Disposable Kids. It was a foundation that dealt with troubled kids of all types, but mostly kids who are in the system, like crime, violent crime, and worked with them in a couple other little groups to build farms that the kids, instead of going to juvie or jail because they were violent offenders, they could go to these farms and actually work it and work with counselors and people who were trained with it. And the recidivism rate for these kids dropped dramatically. It was an amazing program. And they went to West Virginia to get one done because they wanted to start doing it in the South. And it was supposed to be a city council meeting where they presented everything. They were notified that there were so many people who responded that they had to go to the school gymnasium. So they went to the school gymnasium. And as the guy tells me the story, it's a brutal story. They go and they walk in and the place is packed. It's like standing room only. And they give their presentation in silence. And there's quiet. And afterwards, there's this, he's like this heavy set guy in overalls goes, "You best just get out of town." And everyone cheered. That was it. And it's like, yeah, that's West Virginia. The Jesco White story and tales are there. It's around the corner from where my grandparents, grew up and where my grandpa's home was, and Uncle Scotty and Aunt Sis and all of them. And it's really, really, really wild shit. Yeah, No Disposable Kids is crazy. NDK's was good stuff. I had an amazing set of experiences thanks to them. Very, very unique, weird stuff, but really good. And I miss those guys. Good people. But yeah, the South just doesn't give a shit. They don't have any interest in getting help or having help. It's a different mentality. And I know everywhere's got the rednecks is a thing everywhere. The white trash thing is kind of a thing everywhere. West Virginia has a unique type. And I say that knowing that there's a lot of unique types, but they're very unique there. It's horrifying. Oof. You ever seen the Jesco White stuff?
No. Is it worth it? What is it?
It's a documentary. We'll watch a few seconds of it. That's okay.
Copyrighted?
No, you're fine. We won't watch Wild and Wonderful Whites. That's a different beast.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
I'll chat if the stream disappears. You know what happened.
Yeah, there we go. All right. 1 sec. You might not have audio for this, so I'm not sure.
Well, I should, because I've been hanging out for the other stuff you've been playing.
Nope. I've been changing things and fucking with things because of this
Chris,
nightmare system. So just hold on.
I'm holding.
Let's see. All right. All right. Wait till the end and enjoy yourself. I love Jesco. I get a kick out of this. There we go. Yep, this will work. Can you hear that, Sunday?
Yeah, I can hear it just fine.
All right, good. Jesco White on Sniffin'.
Days is break and enter a grocery store. I was sniffing a lot of gasoline at the time and lighter fluid, and I just didn't care why I lived or not, as long as I was happy and had my pocket full, the share of the world, any way I could get it. I broke in the store just to get lighter fluid to sniff. And that's one reason the woman knew that I did it and I was guilty for what I done. I gave myself away when I stole that case of lighter fluid because my father went there and told her not to sell it to me because I was a sniffing it. Now, Deputy Sheriff Boyd Jones was his name. He came.
See, what makes this for me is this is everyone I know from that area and family members. It is like a ridiculously picture-perfect portrayal of West Virginia life. It's wild.
I knocked on my mother's door. He said, Miss White, I got a warrant for Jesco for breaking in her. And he said, is he here? And she said, yes, sir, he is. She was a-crying as he's handcuffed me, and put me in the car. And I hugged her, and I said, don't worry, Mommy. I'll get out sooner or later. And I kissed her on the jaw first and remember, and he put me in a police car, and I was waving by at her through the windshield, with my hands handcuffed, both hands like that. And she was standing on the porch crying as they drove away with me. And I spent, I guess, 6 months in the West Virginia Industrial School for Boys. That's Pruny Town. That's where they rehabilitation you and make you better than what you are and make you not do them things. Well, I got out, and it didn't help me none. And, man, I got a double super buzz. Here I was huffing airplane glue in a sandwich bag. Just all I could. I breathed it on into my lungs and getting high. And then I'd take me a hit of that gas right after I'd hit. Man, you talking about a warped mind, I got one. And lighter fluid, I'd sniff hit by the cans.
The whole thing is this. It's next level, and he is out of his mind. And the entire thing is about his dream of being, because he's the devil, Jesco and Jesse, and Elvis. He's all four of those things. And he is not acting. It is not fake. And he exists. He has a YouTube channel. His family does. I think he passed finally. And his whole life is like just fucking insane. But how he behaves and how he does, it's an amazing snap into like that world. It's the type of tap dancing that he's doing is a very particular thing that's done in Appalachia that does not exist outside of it or travel with people. And they did a sequel where he went to Vegas to try to make his dream come true, and it was not very fun. And it's a whole fucking thing. It's a whole fucking thing. And it's a trip. No? Did I leave you that speechless? 1 second, 2 seconds. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so apparently in order to make that thing audible, you actually turned off my audio. So the entire time I was speaking, you couldn't hear a word I was saying. That's amazing.
I had to mute you or else it would echo. Apologies.
Yeah, although I think Chet could hear me, potentially, possibly.
Nope.
Really? Oh. Well, I guess you'll never know then. That was funny.
Sorry.
So that was real. That wasn't a joke.
This Jesco?
Yeah.
No, Jesco's real. Jesco is very real. And there's a handful of quotes.
Even bite her through the windshield. No,
it's a full documentary.
Both hands like that. I got in trouble.
Jesse can be 3 people.
Cryborn super chatted $4.99. This is classism. These people shouldn't be a spectacle. /
It's kind of how you take it, because we make spectacles of all people. I mean, the literal opposite exists as we watch wealthy people and middle-class people and all sorts of people. If you're taking this and laughing at like the losers that they are and ha ha ha, yeah. But to me, it's, you want to talk about a slice of life. It's one of those things that I really think is kind of a shame we don't do anymore. There's another great documentary series that people wonder if it's fake or not. Small Town Security. One of the best ever made, maybe. And it's like a multi-season. You ever watch it Sunday? Small Town Security? Small Town Security. Small Town Security is, it could be a thing we put in as a watch. It's literally a small town, private security firm run by a woman who's completely wild and crazy, but also kind of endearing and odd, and always wanted to be famous. Now has her own documentary sort of show, but it was real world, and they're very strange. The whole group is fascinating. This side of things, I think seeing people, having people experience these different worlds, I don't think can be only negative. I think it's positive. And I think it shows us pockets of the world we wouldn't see otherwise.
Really depends on how it's being framed, though. If it's on YouTube, it's probably just going into look at these hicks.
I mean, it was a PBS documentary when it first aired.
Oh, sure, yeah, but like we're not getting that context here, are we? I thought it was a joke. Like I thought it was like a Kunk on Earth type parody of a uneducated person or something.
It's a different world.
True Septic super chatted $4.99. Do you agree with Halen Sprink's video where he says fascists have no original fashion? I strongly disagree. Has he not heard of the Nazis?
Is it done?
Yes.
I mean, the Nazis were known for some original innovations in
Hugo Boss.
I was just talking about like political aesthetics, but yeah. There's a reason why around that time period, even all of the leftist revolutionary organizations all suddenly had the same type of iconography. Like it original, I don't think they invented any of that stuff, but like they definitely like made distinctive use of particular aesthetics.
But I don't think fascism necessarily has.
Fascism as such doesn't have anything. It's a hodgepodge of things, but like.
Yeah. But again, the place and the particularities and how they came about, like what we're seeing with Trump, they're doing this. They're trying to build an aesthetic that's directed around these very things. They've been doing it for years. This is what happens around political movements or groups or activities. But fascism itself, I'm hesitant to say has anything. It does it even copy? I'm hesitant to even say it copies or steals. It doesn't really have shit like that. Fascism doesn't exist like that.
I'd say it copies and steals.
So meaningfully, how would you even denote how fascism does that, or that it's fascism?
Well, I wouldn't say that fascism does that at all, but like there's definitely like aesthetic tendencies that are not frequently shared by progressive, liberal, or whatever, like lefty things, which typically run the gamut from sort of like milquetoast business professional look to like hippie-ish, whereas you see a combination of like I don't know, like stuff that typically signals wealth in a very uncharming way is how I would describe it. No,
I don't know. It's tough. It's because it's like,
especially because like when we're talking about like fascists from like the 20th century versus what we're talking about now, they're different beasts in some ways, definitely culturally.
Yeah, I mean, again,
like, not in a meaningful sense from like a moral point of view, but definitely in terms of presentation.
Fashion has only been a thing for like 80 years. Like as we talk about it or as we would consider it. Having clothing or having a style, I'm not sure I could say before that we even had meaningful fascist designers in that style of thing, or what a fashion is, the fashion of the times for a country. I mean,
I think it's accelerated, but I think it's been the case for a few hundred years at least.
But then what's fascism prior to fascism?
Oh, you were saying I think you were saying fashion.
But no, I'm saying both. Like fashion as we talk about it today is not just, it's the style, because the way it was put on by monarchs or the way it was organized in, say, England or other countries was very top-down specific. You didn't have fashion as we know it where there's a cutting edge or the latest look, not in the same way. There was a French look, and it didn't really...
Yeah, but that's because they were downstream from like the aesthetic decisions of people in positions of elite power as opposed to businesses, right?
Right, and there's stuff that like maybe led up to it, but to talk about it...
But like for example, just as an example though, like these things, it comes about earlier than that. Like beaver pelt hats, right? There's an obvious like correlation of things to make that a thing, but that wasn't like a top-down thing as such, I don't think.
Yeah, but that's wasn't fashion.
Beaver pelt hats are a fashion.
No.
Top hats? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Very hesitant to agree with that.
They weren't wearing them for practical reasons all of a sudden. They had those particular ones because...
Right, but that's just... But then that kind of breaks the idea of like what fashion is. For me, fashion as a thing, you're talking about haute couture. That's what fashion is in the modern sense. And that doesn't ply in the same way or work in the same way as we're talking about the things. Like where you have the idea of fashion houses in France in like the mid 1800s was so new and different and built that by the time we got to sort of the modern setup, what fashion was kind of developed over time. The idea of, for example, let me put it this way. The idea of having Hugo Boss design your military outfits, that wasn't a thing. Like you didn't hire some fashion designer to do that because fashion wasn't considered like that prior to like.
I think you're talking about like the emergence of a fashion industry, not the idea of fashion itself. You're talking about like.
I'm talking about fashion as the systemic sort of building blocks that we talk about today. If I'm not talking about like, what's in style, that makes the term meaningless because we've had fashion literally forever.
Well, no, not necessarily. It's not just a matter of what's in style. It has to do with like what's in style for a particular kind of reason. Like there are lots of things that are in style. There are foods that are in style. There are
right, but style in that case is not what fashion is.
Well, I agree, but like fashion in terms of like a type of imitative dress that people don specifically to keep up with a particular social trend. That's not. I mean, it's recent historically, but that's not super recent. If you're talking about a fashion industry that specifically exists to target that, that is relatively recent.
And I'm not even talking about the capitalization of it. I think, I think I'm hesitant because, again, fashion as its own systemic thing, where you have people commenting on fashion, you have people making fashion. There's a such thing as cutting edge fashion, and people can say that. That didn't exist until the mid-1800s, period. Having whatever the latest thing was, people didn't talk about it as, oh, it's the latest thing in blah, blah, blah. That's not how they spoke of beaver skin hats, for example. They were just the thing that flooded because they were warmer, and that was the setup. It wasn't regarded as the same way as haute couture shifted everything in the mid-1800s to the 1900s, as we have now, where we sort of have completely new understandings of the process.
There was you'll especially here, you'll learn about this in like elementary school, where there's like the development of particular types of hats out of beaver pelts, because I brought that up earlier.
Sure.
Resulted in the near extinction of the species that they were hunting for those hats. And the reason for that was not because nobody had hats before then. The reason for that was because now that was the fashion. That was the thing you did to look like you were with it, right? Like that's a thing. When I talk about fashion, I think when most people talk about fashion, they're talking about that. If you're saying like there's like a radical like cultural shift in terms of how that manifests in other functions within the last 100 years, I would agree with that.
Well, okay. So if we go with like the very, very broadest version of this, like that's a Braudel in his books talks about sort of the beginning of what we might call the idea of Western fashion. And he talks about it in the way he sets up is about style being a thing that's visually output or shown. The French style, European style, the royal style, whatever it is, that setup existed for the extremely well-to-do primarily. The idea of fashion being something that is more broad rather than something where we just simply look at the wealthy people and go, oh, that's a nice dress.
But isn't that synonymous with like the rise of like sort of bourgeois capitalism by itself? Like that's where you get people suddenly who are not.
This would be the idea of a regime or a fascist regime or a democratic regime or anyone having a fashion style doesn't exist in the same sense, because by nature that requires industrialization and it requires something more mass marketed. Fashion prior to that, to talk about, for example, Louis the 14th, to talk about him in the sense of the same way we would talk about Hitler's fashion. Louis cared a lot about how he looked and how everything was and all the dress-ups and stuff. But to talk about that in terms of the same type of way we talk about the fashion of the Nazis, I think conflates things that aren't really equitable.
Well, military uniforms were a thing long in advance of that. And
but they were not designed like that. Not in the same way and not with the same aesthetics. And again, how they were built is not
similar aesthetics. Like some significant similar aesthetics. I mean, just it's the fact that it was modeled off of military uniform at all.
Similar, again, this would be my issue. They weren't designed by a Hugo Boss prior to that.
No, sure, but I mean, like, does the commissioning of the fashion industry to produce these things necessarily by itself represent a radical change in the idea of fashion? Or does it represent like a radical shift in the relation between the fashion industry and like society or whatever? See what I'm saying? Because the claim again is like there was no fashion, and we're putting some asterisks next to this until like a.
Well, but again, so as Braudel talks about it, the fashion world that existed prior to the haute couture era that we saw emerge in France was actually based around not the designers, but the people who wore it. So Louis, for example, would be the guy people would talk about, or his wife. They wouldn't say it's the latest designer from this. They might say from a city. They might say, oh, it's from Milan, maybe. This is generally how it was talked about. But the idea of haute couture, which is like cottage housing fashion, that's mid 18th century, simply did not exist. Like artisan houses of people where a designer made things and a designer had a voice, and there was competition in trying to be the latest or the next big thing, which I would consider modern fashion as we do it, did not exist prior to that. It just wasn't really a thing. And because of that, it's tough for me to sort of compare anything prior to even the 1900s, really, to what happened with Hitler and fashion in that sense.
Sure. I don't know if I would make the distinction. I make the cut along those lines. I think
there's a lot of ways I could do that, though. Like I could spend a lot of time and do that. We could talk about how prior to that era, specifically the haute couture era, mid 1850s France, like put a stake in it. Prior to that, fashion styles evolved over hundreds of years, like decades at minimum. Whereas with that, because there were houses competing to be the coolest, it shifted fashion into being something about the latest in a way that was expedient and it was seasonal. And it wasn't seasonal in the way that we tend to think of it now, where it's like, oh, we're moving from one season to another because they just want to keep product moving because we're part of that global system. But when it started, it was like just bam, 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 trying to go rapid, trying to build the latest things and have this really weird introduction of secondary cultural artifacts. Prior to haute couture, you tended to see a hardening of very specific things. This is French design. We don't go outside of those boundaries. But haute couture, because it's these small designers in this area that were competing, they fought each other. And so they would take actual cultural elements from elsewhere in the world and bleed them in. And again, that wasn't a thing prior to that. It would take decades, if not centuries, for cultural appropriation to happen in that sense. Whereas here it was like starting to become really a thing. Designers would get a style. Like kings didn't even have styles. Styles wasn't a thing that they considered. This wasn't like, when I say Hugo Boss did the Nazi uniforms, there's no one who goes, well, that's weird. Those look nothing like Hugo Boss would ever make. It's like, no, it's kind of like it fits. They're kind of in the style of fucking Hugo Boss's style because Hugo Boss was the thing versus the king or the wealthy person on the other side. Like there's a clean break when it comes to that stuff in terms of like how fashion used to operate or how it operates now, that like anytime we start going back or comparing, it's very difficult for me to go back to anything beyond certain times because industrialization changed everything. And fashion is no different. And comparing fashion before and after is like saying, well, you notice that the Nazis made bread a certain way.
Oh yeah, but industrialization like precedes that period by some time. I don't, right? Like so like
well, sure, but
I'm just
by
saying
50
that
years, by like 50 years, it's not a wild leap. I mean, that's what, 2 generations, maybe 3.
I think it would depend on where you are.
Germany.
Yeah, obviously in Germany, but like it's not just Germany, obviously. I don't. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
The description of these things is important because when we're talking about fashion, when we're talking about like this system, and it's important to me, and it's maybe I'm overindulging. I'm doing my video on symbolic logic, and one of the things that's really challenging with the symbolic or representational space is that we use it to describe a generality. And once we do that, if we aren't understanding that that's what we're doing, we stay in generalities.
And that's
but
why
nothing.
You keep saying that in every single thing we talk about.
Nothing is a generality. Everything is intended to evoke very particular things when we say it or when we're speaking about it. And so getting to that and finding and removing ambiguities from those discussions is what allows us to actually have a fine point on it. So when the question is, hey, is it true that the fascists never do anything original? It's like, well, it's how often are we even able to really have that conversation? How long have fascists or the right wing existed? And I can point out a lot of really fashy, shitty Nazi adjacent alt-right fashion designers who kind of have done cool shit. So like, yeah, it's tough. What would I call the fascist visuals then? Would I even say it's a category? I mean, that's, again, I don't think fascism isn't a thing that's like that stable. Like fascism would happily not have those things and just move the fuck on. It doesn't care about those things. It's not. Leftism is concerned with workers. Leftism is concerned with moving things forward. It's concerned with universality in a really unique way. Necessarily, it's going to include a lot of things. It's going to be more complex. There's going to be other things with it. Fascism is just driving towards a singularity, and everything else is sort of picked up along the way and tossed. And those things don't necessarily exist in the same way. Again, that idea of fascism versus freedom is itself problematic because of that.
But they're all going towards a singularity.
Fascism is.
Okay.
The more
what's left? What have we got left?
I don't know. There's like just lots of weird little moments we've had. Again, just to go back to like the stupidity of Trump. I wanted to sort of, I don't know, we could finish on this because I find this article fascinating. Trump wanted to reopen Alcatraz.
That. Okay, let's talk about that.
If you haven't, I lived in San Francisco, and when you live in San Francisco or you visit San Francisco, you're forced to visit Alcatraz at some point. It is an island, and on it was a prison that famous people were held in. It is a tourist spot, flatly. It's also an incredibly rundown, non-federal place. It's not really a prison anymore and hasn't been for a very long time, but Trump basically wants to reopen Alcatraz and build it up because he wants his own CCOT, is all I can think.
I mean, good, because we should have our own CCOT if we're going to do that. Why are you, as the member of the Federation.
So I'm going to read, if you mind, Sunday, I'm going to read through his statement, and you just tell me at what point it becomes incoherent.
Okay.
A reporter asked simply, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea? Because all he has is sycophant reporters. And he responded, well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker.
Stop. All right. Now, I'm gonna ask you this. If you were a movie maker and you wanted to depict a famous jail escape from history, where would you look? Potentially Alcatraz, because... Okay, continue. Sorry, go on.
Well, it's The Rock. The Rock is a great movie. Good flick.
Movie. I haven't seen it in forever.
It's a blast.
We're thinking of the same movie. That's the one with Scottish guy.
That is correct.
Good.
Trebek.
I'm not joking. I literally cannot remember proper nouns since...
Stood. Shaken, not stood. Stood. I'll try Trump again. I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We're talking. We started with the movie making, and it will end. It represents something very strong, very powerful. This is a direct fucking quote. I love it. We're talking, we started with the movie making, and it will end. It represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing, and Alcatraz, the movies. Lisa, we're going to do Factish Gods tonight, and we're going to do the entire book, we've decided. So
we're not doing the entire book tonight. We're doing the
not tonight,
book.
But we're going to be doing the entire book. Pippa's good.
We're doing part 1 of chapter 1 tonight,
which
is, by the way, going to take a while.
It will. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. But nobody person almost got there.
From Alcatraz.
It's true, actually.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I'm reading an article right now. Theodore Cole, Ralph Rowe, Brinkley Morris, John and Clarence Anglin, all convicts that escaped the island.
Yeah. As far as I remember, they actually were never confirmed dead, is kind of the story.
Well, they drowned. But they got out of the prison, is the point.
Oh, no. There were other people that got out of the prison and died. Like... One sec. Let me just confirm that. Because, again, it's been a while since I've been to Alcatraz.
I don't believe it.
Most well-known escape attempt involved 3 prisoners, Morris, brothers John and Clarence Anglin. They were the basis for Eastwood's flick. Morris arrived in Alcatraz in 1960, following previous convictions for bank robbery and burglary, in addition to repeated failed escape attempts. The trio, reportedly with help from another inmate, Alan West, began hatching a scheme to leave the island. West was left behind on the day of the escape. During routine bed checks the following morning, officers discovered 3 inmates gone in their beds. Instead were dummy heads. Prison lockdown search immediately involved blah, blah, blah. The FBI said that within 2 days of the escape, they found multiple items related to the men. Packet of letters sealed in rubber, paddle-like pieces of wood and bits of rubber inner tube, and a homemade life vest that had washed up on the beach. As far as I know, they never found the guys.
It means they're alive. They made it.
Yeah. No one, as far as anyone knows, no one ever successfully escaped. It's a D.B. Cooper type thing. One person.
Well, I mean, if you knew they successfully escaped, they wouldn't have really escaped, would they? Think about it.
Well, literally getting to land would be a success. If you've never seen the Bay Area, like water, if you haven't gone boating, I used to go fishing. I had friends take me out. We used to enjoy boats and like 4th of July and go out and enjoy drinking, have some fun. That is not a fun day. It's fun once in a while when the weather is perfectly clear. The Bay Area is like
turbulent.
Yeah, it's wild. One sec. If you ever get seasick, this is not a place to go. It's fucking wild. The waves end up 2 stories high. You don't fuck with the Bay Area. There are days where it's sunny and lovely and there's a bunch of people out there, but again, they're rare, and you'd have to time your escape with that, which is not a fun day. And yes, the water is extremely cold. You'll die if you swim cold. People do it in full body suits and all that shit, but it's ruthless. But back to Trump. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up, and it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. That's not... What the fuck? Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country. Trump said he hoped to bring Alcatraz back in large form at a lot. It sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable weak. He's added. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting. Some have suggested that Trump was inspired by Escape from Alcatraz, the 1979 film, that aired on South Florida's WLRN on Saturday night. Jesus Christ. It fucking aired on his fucking TV station when he was in Mar-a-Lago Saturday. We should reopen that. He's demented.
He's demented. I want to see what would happen if somebody just got him watching Man in the High Castle. Just binging it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The shark bite thing, just adding that is fucking crazy. It's just... Because it's just, again, it's the same shit across the board. It's the same thing fucking over and over.
Yep, he's just gone.
Donald Trump is set to raise millions of dollars from the crypto industry this month. The events have set off alarms for ethics experts. Boy, I wonder why. Do you have any idea why that might be an issue? The president was heading to his Trump National Golf Club on Monday night for a crypto industry fundraiser. It's the first of 2 major crypto events. The president will be holding at his private club this month, just as the policy debate over regulating crypto heats up in Washington. The Crypto and AI Innovators Dinner. Monday night is a $1.5 million per person fundraiser to benefit the pro-Trump super PAC, Mega Inc. Think about how much money there is there right now. $1.5 million per person. David Sachs, according to a copy of an invitation obtained by Axios, Sachs also serves as the White House AI and crypto czar. There you go. I think that face is Elon Musk's face. I think it fucked up.
You think they put Trump's face on Elon Musk's head?
No, it's AI generated, and I think they just left it.
Look at it, but you think that's Elon? That's not Elon.
I think the AI got confused. It doesn't look. It just doesn't look right.
Made him look younger, but it doesn't look like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has no chin.
Right. Fair.
That's all chin.
Value of the Trump token shot up more than 50%. What the fuck? Just everything.
The guy generally just goes golfing, comes home, watches TV, and then goes to Twitter. That's it.
Dude, what the fuck, man?
I don't think he's even being informed in a timely fashion of any of the shit that's going on. I think it's just he's just running around like a bull in a china shop, and people are trying to work around him.
I don't even have a fucking thing for this. This is fucking nuts. It's across the board, just completely fucked. And
it's just like Trump uses crazy AI portrait. I mean, Trump's not involved in that. That's just some guy in a room somewhere with a computer. I don't think he's aware of any of this.
I mean, it's his dinner that he's putting out, and it's
why you think that means he takes it seriously enough to actually like pay attention to any of the workings of any?
Oh, he talked about it. He talked about this one because it's the top. No, I don't think he knows about any of that. That's fair.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. Like he obviously has an interest in the stuff that he does. What I'm saying though is like I don't think for 1 second he's paying attention to any of the particulars about any of this. He doesn't know any of them. I'm sorry, like you can't.
Officially, Trump is appearing at the dinner and not soliciting funds for it.
The MS-13 thing, it's like seals it. Like,
yeah, it does.
This guy is not involved in the design aspect of anything. That was good, by the way. What you did to Kid, that was good. That was a special.
Oh, the gag with the Trump.
Can we watch that quickly?
We can. It's a worthwhile.
It was just a good
moment.
Kid doesn't get enough attention. This was.
I don't think you're going to be able to hear it though. I hate to say.
It's fine. I've seen it already.
All right. 1 sec.
One point to Jitsi though.
Well, I'll be able to fix it. I've just got to get things in place.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to mute you. Sorry. So quiet up.
How long ago? It's like all those people saying that Trump is stupid enough to think that the tattoos literally said MS-13. Yeah, that shit was dumb. Yeah, I saw that there was that the whole like MS-13 like tattoo thing. The only thing that you could say, it was probably printed on the paper that said MS-13 or whatever to try and make it simple for Trump because he's dumb. But like a lot of the people looked at that story and then they're like, oh my God, like Trump is photoshopping this image. It's like, are you dumb? You have a video for me? Hell yeah, dude. I love it when you got videos for me. Let's go.
He may not like that I have videos for him anymore.
Trump, I'm not reading the quotes.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked and on his knuckles, he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattoo.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was photoshopped.
Wait.
So let me
That was Photoshop, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay.
Wait.
This like made my day. This made my day because, look, it's what I did. It's what I did. I did the same exact thing where I was like, look, everyone, look, I get it. It's funny to make fun of Trump for being stupid. He's not that fucking dumb. There's no way. I get it.
Am I audible again?
You're good.
Okay.
I figured it out.
This is actually a good segue. Can we just, as a final thing, because I think watching people sort of come to terms with the fact that
switch to the Dillahunty video.
Switch to the Dillahunty video, because watching people like come to terms with the fact that no, Trump is actually so stupid you can't comprehend it.
It was. I went through exactly what Kid, and we're gonna watch Dillahunty because I got such a kick out of this because when you feel stupid, and I felt really stupid, I was like giving Trump the credit that obviously he wasn't stupid enough to think that the MS-13 was on the tattoo, was actually a tattoo. Of course it wasn't.
Yeah.
And Kid hadn't seen this interview when it posted. This was right at the same time. This was a couple days ago.
It was that night. It was
that night. And he was going to be streaming it anyway. And watching his process and knowing it's identical to my own. That's what made it for me, because it was like, wait, what? And just 2 seconds more of Kid, and then we'll switch over to Matt.
Oh my God.
I got a kick out of this.
Oh my God. So they printed it with MS-13 over the symbols to try and make it easier for Trump to get it. And he straight up.
I love it. I adore this. Because again, it's not like Kid and I and Matt are fans of Trump. Right? Like that's what makes this, I think, the best thing. Because it's we're not fans of Trump, but we just simply cannot believe
that a human can be that dumb.
That someone could be this fucking stupid. Yeah. Like dysfunctionally stupid.
Yeah.
The Atheist Debates Patreon project presents.
So I can both speak and hear the thing we're watching. So
you can't hear it?
That you're playing. No, because remember you had to mute me in order to make the thing audible for the chat.
No, it's working. Could you hear Matt just there?
No.
I was wrong.
You can't hear that?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you're even sharing that one. You've got that on the.
Oh well, one sec. My bad.
Hey everybody, I was
there
wrong.
We go. Everybody. Okay.
You're fine. Everything's set. You're good.
It's happened many times.
No, I mean I just couldn't hear it.
Lots of things wrong, and sometimes I like to post corrections, and sometimes it's an apology because I did something wrong or said something wrong or should have done something differently. In this case, it's not so much a mea culpa as a moment of clarity.
Yeah.
We are, in fact, stupider than I imagined we could be, and some of us significantly more than I anticipated.
That's the feeling. I didn't realize how absolutely fucking stupid some people were. Like, they're stupid. And then it's like
he's making this video because he called people stupid for like assuming cartoonishly that Trump
he did
that dumb. And like, here's the thing: people have made that assumption without justification in the past. We've seen like the really cheap shots that people have taken in the past when they're unnecessary.
Yep,
it goes back to the whole ketchup on steak thing. This is like a terrifying level of, I don't even know what to call it. I'm still hedging a little bit in the back of my head that I think his eyesight might be going, but
I don't think so. I think his brain is dead. Like there's nothing there. You cannot possibly see that. Is that John Oliver had the line where he's like, I know it's copyright strike. It's the best line I've seen about it so far, which is that the reporter shouldn't have moved off. He should have stayed on it, and he should have asked the president. So you believe that he got a tattoo of the number 3 and specifically went in and said, hey, can I get that in a Helvetica style font that is exactly aimed as if there's no wrinkles or any movement perspectively from a camera in front of me?
I just want to see what happens if like an interviewer just shows him a photograph of like
that was his argument.
Like let's say though, like a news reporter just shows him like a photograph of like a building in Gaza, like a news station maybe that was bombed, and it just has in Times New Roman font just painted on like Hamas building, and just see what he does with it.
We should. Oh, you know what'd be fun? AI generated art of gang members, like real scary, with Trump tattoos all over them, and see how he reacts to that. I bet you he would have a
disavow. He'd disavow. Well, we don't approve of those people, obviously.
Well, yeah, there's some of the bad guys may have great taste. It might completely change everything. I wonder if someone who was deported, if they had Trump tattoos, if they would be brought back.
Okay,
isn't a political post, and it's not about Trump or MS-13, though I will be talking about both of those because this is about public reaction to things and what I thought was happening, and I was wrong about what was actually happening. For those who don't know, there's an individual who came to the United States illegally and then was offered essentially a variety of protection from the courts about not being able to be deported to El Salvador. And the Trump administration basically snatched him up and shipped him off to a human rights violating prison in El Salvador, claiming that he was an MS-13 gang member. And when people started pushing back on this, because, well, first of all, there's nothing intrinsically illegal about being in a gang or being in MS-13, or how do you tell the difference between someone who's in MS-13 and someone who's formally a member of MS-13? At the end of the day, there has to be some sort of crime that somebody's charged with, and people were pushing back on this. And so the Trump administration decided to offer some proof that, in fact, this individual was MS-13. And so Trump famously held up this photograph. There's a picture of him holding the photograph and then the photograph. And it says Kilmar Abrego Garcia, MS-13 tattoo. And when I saw it, right off the bat, people on social media were saying, "Oh my God, look how dumb Trump is. He thinks the letters MS and the numbers 1, 3 were actually tattooed on this guy when it's so obviously an edited photograph." And I always try, even though some people will suggest that it doesn't happen, I always try to find a way to give the benefit of the doubt, to be as charitable as possible. And so when you look at this, it is very obvious that someone took a picture of this person's tattoos and put in the letters MS and the numbers 1 and 3, specifically to show what those tattoos supposedly mean. And so there's like an M, marijuana, S, smile, 1 for, I don't know, one God maybe, and then a 3 for a skull. I don't know how it fits, but in any
I was in a fucking with chat the other day, and I was given reasons why the 3 could be a skull. I named like, and every time I named it, it's like, wow, I didn't know this. Like, no, I'm making it up because you like 1 being a cross somehow. What the fuck, man? I still don't. These people.
If the cross was the 3, maybe as like a lowercase t.
Time to leave. Sorry.
In any case, they were essentially making the case that
also I'm sorry, just to be clear, we are the marijuana smiley cross gang. Like, why why is smiley? Why I don't get it. Wait, hang on, wait, I got a thought here. Nope, that doesn't work. Yeah, I got nothing.
Image tattoos were a code for MS-13 membership. And what I thought happened was that they presented this to Trump, explained it to him, and then Trump said something like, "That's a good illustration of the point, let's go ahead and show it." And all the people who were going, look how dumb Trump was, I told them, please stop being ridiculous. Trump is not saying it literally says MS-13 on this person's knuckles. He was informed that this was us showing what these tattoos mean, and that's all. That's all that was said. I was wrong.
So was I, Matt. So was I, Matt. For I will just say, I get called a pessimist a lot. I think this stupidity on my part is solely down to my deep optimism that somehow still exists within me despite everything pointing to the contrary. That I could not believe anyone would be this fucking stupid.
Well, I'm glad you're coming to terms with your disability, Brooks.
It's bad, dude. It's bad. It's
I
bad.
mean, like,
it's genuinely freaks me out that, like, because you go to the other side of it, there's no hill. Like, okay, where I was prior to this is I believed that there was kind of a base. Like, you couldn't go below a certain point of, like, before you become someone that, like, I can't make jokes about you being stupid because I'd feel bad because it's like, you know, mental disabilities, born away, missing a part of your brain, all of that stuff. Like, that doesn't count. I'm talking about, like, a fully functional person, in theory, should be able to be this smart. In my head, I almost had that, like, thing. I don't know what the line is, but I think I had it. This broke it to the point where now I don't understand how you even consider other people as sentient people. Like,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think it's because you're still imagining a situation where Trump looks at an image, processes what he's seeing, and then spits out a description of that image. That's not what's taking place here. Trump probably saw the image at some point, went about his day, went about his chaotic, insane life with all the stuff floating around. Discourse about the tattoos was flying around everywhere, and people said he had MS-13 on his thing, and when people said that, they meant.
But here's the thing:
there were.
I get your point, but he still looked at this picture for even a moment, and
I don't think he did, though. I don't think
we know he did. We saw video of him.
No, we know he's looked at it,
and there is no way that a person who has a working brain, in my head, can look at this and go, "Yep," and take it in that way. Even like at a grokking at basic level.
Sure, but what you can do is you can look at it, not carefully, flippantly, and then conflate in your head the interpretation that people
I can't say grokking anymore, can I? Is that a word? Is that word done? Did that word get taken? God damn it.
I've never used the word, so it's no loss to me.
That's an old term. I'm now really upset that I can't say grokking anymore. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, the letter X has been ruined forever, so.
Oh no, this is depressing.
Yeah. No, I think what's a lot more likely is not that he doesn't have the capacity to recognize MS Paint, which is actually the name of the gang. I think what's happened is he did this interpretation of the image was floating around. He internalized that, and he just ran with it off the top of his head. And I think when pushed, he just doubled down because that's what he does. And that is very stupid. But it's not like a matter of like, is Trump's brain so slow? It's a matter of, does he give so little of a shit, and is he so irresponsible that he's effectively significantly worse off than someone with crippling brain damage when it comes to dealing with these things?
Right.
Because that's the thing. Like I would anticipate.
Like I'm with you, and that's what I'm talking about. Is I made that switch, but the other side of that is then that there is. So when he's doing the interview and he's just like saying, he's just kind of the shit is spewing out of his mouth, and he's genuinely means, can't you just say yes and move on? Like when he says that, what he means is just let this be easy, keep going, shut up, just lay back and let me finish kind of mentality, which is,
This is someone with no sense of responsibility, with way too much power and no accountability. He's a mobster.
I think I didn't understand, which is either it's probably both a shortcoming and a good thing, but also, it's a mix. That's just such a.
I assumed that pretty much anybody looking at this knows that.
No, I meant you. Go on. I thought you were going to say something. You cut yourself off.
No, I want to watch. I'm sad.
And that it's edited specifically to make that point. So I spent my time focusing on how that point was wrong. That being in a gang doesn't mean you're still in a gang. Neither is a crime. There needs to be some evidence of a crime. You also have.
I'm going to be honest with you, though.
You don't just get to snatch people.
I'm not actually confident that I'm right, and that scares me. Go on.
And that's kind of what my point. My question was is like,
yeah,
I believed there was a foundational space that a person, generally speaking, could exist in. But with that gone, there is.
That's not very Delusian of you at all. Sorry, continue.
I exist. I'm not Delusian.
No.
I'm a person who's had the experiences. I've never met anyone who is functioning like this at this level. I've had a lot of life experience, and I've dealt with a lot of people who were stupid in their own ways, but this is like, they exist outside of symbolization or recognition of their own existence in an entire way that is wholly unknowable to me. I can't have empathy for someone in this position, I think is how I'd phrase it. I can't even grasp, and that's why I was using the term grok. I can't grok. I can't emotionally find myself cognizing.
That actually annoys me too. You can't use grok anymore.
I know.
That actually,
fucking upsetting. Sucks. It's a great word.
It sounds like you can't use Twitter, which we also can't use anymore. So
it's a good word. Goddamn fucking Elon.
It's also
everything.
used in it's also used a lot in Stranger in a Strange Land, isn't it?
Pretty sure that's where it comes from.
That's
buddy.
where it's from. That's where it's from. Oh, fuck, that is where it's from.
So I'm pretty sure that's where it's from. I'm pretty sure Heinlein literally invented the word. So,
damn.
Pretty sure. And
at least he fucked up the fascist author. There you go.
But it's like the only good thing Heinlein did. I like a few of his books, but it's like the best thing he gave us is this term for like emotionally, empathetically, bodily recognizing and understanding something immediately. It's a great term for that.
I did not know that was from that until I was reading this. I was like, oh.
It's where the concept is from. Yeah, see, everyone in chat knows this. Come on. Stranger in a Strange Land. Had you not read that before, or has it been a while?
It's the boring one. I tried like 10 years ago.
Oh.
People up.
I was more of I was an Orson Scott Card reader back then.
That's much worse.
It is much worse.
I ripped into some.
The first one's good.
About
No.
First two are okay.
Yeah, you don't get to say that after saying that Stranger in a Strange Land is the boring one.
I didn't say it is the boring one.
I said that's the boring one.
I was implying that's what it was like experiencing it for the first time.
I've read all the Heinlein books. It ain't the boring one. It's very good.
Okay, I haven't read all the Heinlein books.
Please stop making all.
It's not
stupid.
It's not
just assuming.
It's not fun like Starship Troopers, is what I'm saying.
I liked it more.
I'm not saying it's less fun. Never mind. Keep going. I'm saying for a baby brain, it's less fun.
You like Andor. I am.
Andor
by the way,
you're
losing
good.
me every step of the way.
Andor is a well-written.
You're losing me every step of the way.
That uses Star Wars as a vehicle, but is not fundamentally a Star Wars series. Just press play. Just press play.
Trump is stupid, and he is. That he's this stupid because he's probably not, and he's got handlers and people giving him information. But now there's an interview that's happened in the Oval Office with one of the major networks where the reporter pushes back saying that, hey, you guys showed these tattoos there. And Trump says, yes, he had MS-13 tattooed on his hand. And the reporter says something along the lines of, well, that is what those tattoos supposedly mean. And Trump's like, no, he actually had MS-13 tattooed on his hands. Did you not see the picture? And the reporter's like, yeah, I saw the picture that's been photoshopped. Oh, it's been photoshopped. Yeah, and Trump's being dismissive. It became clear in an instant that the president of the United States genuinely believed that this person had not just marijuana, smile, cross, and skull, but MS1 and 3 tattooed on their hand. So somebody decided that we need to put this together in a way that explains it, and we'll show it to the president. And our brilliant...
it's so fucking weird that people are this stupid. And again, in turn, how do I put it? So, like, Emperor's New Clothes is a children's story, right? You know the Emperor's New Clothes? It's a kid's story, right? So we have the boring one. It's literally Heinlein's best work, and reading it should make everyone who reads it depressed about everything else Heinlein wrote after that, because it's probably the best thing he ever created. And I mean that as someone who, like, I'd put it up there with Dune. It's a masterpiece of science fiction. Stranger in a Strange Land.
True Septic super chatted $4.99.
1 sec, hold up.
Dillahunty slave morality with bad epistemology too. Do you
Super
think
chat.
Shiloh Hendricks is changing the tide and effectiveness of woke cancel campaigns?
First question. Dillahunty slave morality with bad epistemology. I'm not a fan of Dillahunty generally, so I'm like not going to necessarily comment on that. I appreciated this because this is a very human thing. Oh, sorry. I switched scenes. It's a long story. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional.
That's all right. I didn't say anything.
Because
I was muted. Sorry, go on.
Dillahunty overall sucks, but this is such a human moment. And again, my challenge, and I think it's what a lot of people come out of this with, and I'm clearly not alone. Kid, myself, Dillahunty, I can't be alone in this. The story of An Emperor's New Clothes is the emperor has a tailor who goes, oh, look, it's the best. These are the best invisible threads. You can't see them. Only people pure of heart can see them. And the president, the king, and the president in this case, lies and says he can see them and continues it. And everyone continues that lie despite everyone being able to see that there are no clothes because they don't want to be seen as impure. The child says, but he's naked. And everyone goes, oh my God, he is naked. And everyone sees the opposite. There's
an Indian version I'm reading about right now that has a slight twist. So, a dishonest merchant, Dana, from somewhere, swindles the king of somewhere by offering to weave a supernatural garment that cannot be seen or touched by any person of illegitimate birth. When the king is supposedly wearing the garment, his whole court pretends to admire it. The king is then paraded about a city to show off the garment. When the common folk ask him if he has become a naked ascetic, he realizes the deception, but the swindler has already fled. That I like that they confuse him for like a guru thing. That's a fun twist.
I like that too. So the story is about everyone wholly being just part of this lie and joining in to the point where there's just nothing more. Like that the lie is the thing. Part of the story for me has always been that the emperor always had doubt in his head, but was actively part of the lie. Like he was, oh, I'm lying. When he is speaking, he's aware of it. The people around him aware of it. Everyone else going, oh, and they're speaking and saying this as a lie. They know they're lying, like the emotional experience is that of lying. Another way to interpret it would be that the emperor is stupid enough to think there's invisible clothes and goes, oh, cool, and is not lying and is instead just simply believing whatever the fuck is going on. Right? Those are two different ways to read that story.
Yes.
And one of them is how I've been reading this story, which is they know, but yeah, they don't care, or but they're aware. There's no awareness.
Note to end off on.
The emperor wasn't lying.
No, the emperor was duped, but
that fucks with me really bad. I've literally believed that story that way for my entire life. Because I cannot empathize with the idea of not having any awareness of what you're saying and caring about it. And it just is kind of fucking with me right now.
Well, just add the additional caveat where, in his world, none of the people he's talking to exist. This person is in a state of absolute solipsism.
Touche.
I sent to put a thing into the live chat. I think that's a nice way to conclude this.
Oh no.
Oh.
All right. Why not?
Because it might actually be TOS. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine.
Oh, that's not TOS at all. This is beautiful. This is art. Art. Boop. And 1 sec, I gotta move it up. There we go. That's our bad bitch. She knows what she's doing. You don't want to mess with her. Right?
Will you live stream the end review? We'll talk about that. Brooks will have to be drag kicking and screaming.
We're gonna idea how much I'm not wanting to do this. It's hard to even describe. I hate Star Wars.
You will be pleased to know that there is almost nothing to do with Star Wars in this.
See, that's the problem is you say that from your position, but from my position, I understand the clothing design, the world, everything, because I had to live with it and I had to learn it and I had to memorize it and I had to build it. And so Star Wars is 100% minute semiotic elements, and it is filled with it. I've watched part of Andor, whatever the fuck. Did you see Dave?
No.
No, but I've read Portnoy's complaint. Does that count?
We'll talk about that in a later stream. We're going to be live again tonight at, I think we agreed 8 p.m.
Yeah,
8 p.m. PST. We're going to be going over On the Modern Cult of the Factish Gods by Bruno Latour, part 1 of chapter 1. We're going to be doing the whole thing. So I think we'll probably just do, I don't know exactly when we'll be doing the other parts. I guess just at night after the regular stream. I just don't want to commit you to your whole day for either of those. We'll talk about that.
We're figuring it out.
Tonight we're doing part 1. So
yep.
Join us then. God, that's only 2.5 hours. Fuck. All right. See you.
Let's make it 8:30. Do a solid 3 hours. I need food. I need family time, and I need to fix a couple things here. So let's
3
do 3
hours.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If we're gonna do 3 hours, let's do 9.
All right, that works. Make it even.
Let's do 9. We're gonna do 9 to midnight. Okay. Because we hate ourselves.
Sounds good. Thank all of you for joining us and dealing with all of this. Thank our lovely press secretary here.
I'm actually called President Sunday Brooks, but thank you.
I don't know. You're not that lovely. Clearly referring to the en la vida. What in the fuck are those face tats? The fuck? I want to know what it says underneath her lips. I love this shit. These fucking people are fucking out. I hate these people so much. God damn it. This country, man. What are we going to fucking do?
End the stream. We have another stream in 3 hours.
Fuck.